Hey team, the investors, they want to meet us tomorrow. We need the app ready now.
On it.
All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another Replit Live episode. We are here on a Tuesday doing a deep dive into the Agent 4 Buildathon, which we announced last week and is going to be taking place for the next 3 weeks. So here's how the stream is going to break down. We're going to go through our typical run of show. We're going to, give you a quick community update. And then we're going to take you through everything you need to know about the Buildathon specifically. So make sure you stay tuned to that segment. There's a couple things that we want to make sure everyone's on the same page about this. Shout out to folks in the audience here and everyone who's kind of just been sticking with us over the last few months in the live stream. Manny's in the background. He's going to be looking at the comments and he's going to be joining us here in just a second. But before we get too far into this thing, I wanted to give you just a quick, actually, let me go to this scene here. And this page here and present that. Okay, so here we go. We have, again, a quick intro, community update. Let's just do that real quick from Francisco. Let's do this.
Hello, Buildathon. I'm so excited that we're finally kicking this off, and I just cannot wait to see all the amazing projects that you're building. I really wish I could be there with Manny and Raimar today, but we're actually out here in Tokyo meeting with the local community in Japan as we continue to kind of grow globally and just meet our users all over the world. I just want to wish you all a great time as we get together and kind of kick off your first projects. And I hope you are able to collaborate, learn with each other, and just finally get your ideas and bring them to life. So I'll be joining for the next couple of streams, next couple of weeks. But I hope you have a great one, and we'll talk soon. Have a good one.
Nice. All right. So Francisco, as you saw, is out in Japan working with the ambassadors and the community team out there. And this is something you're going to start to see us doing a lot more of, is stepping into different international regions. Shout out to Marcelo down in Brazil and the whole Brazilian crew. Actually, yeah, if you want, shout out in the comments here and let us know where you're watching from. That's always a lot of fun. Let's also do this. Hang on. We got this Aura Globe. I want everyone to go sign this globe. Let us know where you are watching from. This is going to be a big part of this, right? There's going to be builders coming from all over the world as part of this competition, and we want to know where you are. We've got 677 visitors so far that are, oh, there we go. Now it's starting to pop off there. So you'll start seeing on the right-hand side, you'll start seeing folks kind of coming in as this globe comes in. If you haven't seen this, this is what we're calling the Aura Globe. You can log in with Replit here and sign and leave your name and just kind of let us know where in the world you're watching from. It's getting a little overwhelming here in the United States. We got a shout out down to the folks in Brazil representing. Got people in Africa. Hello, Africa. All over the Middle East and Europe and into, Indonesia, Malaysia, all the islands over here, Philippines, etc. They are everywhere. Look at this. New Zealand, we found the other day, Australia. So yeah, pop off in here. Let us know where you're actually coming from. Log in with Replit. One of the things you'll see that we do over this Buildathon is we're really going to start unifying some of this community experience. So as you interact with some of the different sites, we're going to figure out how to show those as badges and linked out to all these different profiles. Anyway, more to come on that here shortly. So yeah, just let us know where you're coming from. And what happened to my slides? Hello, slides. Hang on one second. Let me see if I can pull this preview back up. There we go. Present. Okay, so community update, Agent 4 Buildathon. That's what we're going to get into today. Bring your ideas to life, your creative ideas to life. We got 3 weeks to go from idea to launch, right? So week 1 is explore, week 2 is build, week 3 is ship. And there are over $50,000 in prizes between cash and credits. And there's also this cool exclusive community that we're going to be talking about a little bit. If you were around for the mobile Buildathon, it was very exciting to build with people hands-on inside of Discord. We had really cool sessions where people would give us their projects. We shared feedback. Everyone kind of riffed on this, and the projects improved significantly. And so tomorrow we'll be hosting our first kind of build-along session, and every week through the Buildathon, we will be doing that to help you all kind of refine your projects, go through your ideas. One of the things we're going to do later on in the stream is walk you through my creative process and just kind of discuss how I narrow in on ideas. I have 3 ideas that I'm exploring that I'm going to be building with you. So we'll talk, we'll get interactive, we'll get your feedback on what to do there. But that's a lot of the value of this, is really just being around other builders and holding yourself accountable. Yes, the prizes are cool, but just being in a place where you can kind of work with others and keep yourself accountable. So here's your mission for the Build-a-thon. Get that creative thought out of your head and make it real. You've been thinking about something, an application, a product, something for your team, something for your family, something for your friend group, a little side project you want to start, whatever it is. You've been thinking about something that's in your head. You've been seeing all this AI stuff and you're like, oh, this vibe code stuff is cool, but I don't know if it's for me. We're going to show you how to use Replit to do all those things. So your mission through the competition is to build something real. Again, a business, game, tool, whatever. This could be a browser extension. It could be a mobile app. It could be anything. It could be a pitch deck and an animation video. It could be just like a launch package. Like, there's a lot of creativity here, and we're going to explain how that all fits together. What we're going to ask you to do, and the way this is going to work, is that week 1, you are going to kind of pitch your idea. So you're going to spend the next couple of days outlining your idea, exploring this idea on the canvas, building little marketing assets, kind of thinking through, maybe asking friends, kind of validating your early concept. Next week, the checkpoint is going to be about building this idea, right? And so don't get too far ahead of us here, because this is really going to be like a hands-on thing, and we may throw some surprises at you, right? We've learned a lot of things from the last Build-a-thon, and we're going to be tracking things a little bit different for this Build-a-thon. And so don't try to get too far ahead of yourself, and you're going to see that there's some caveats to make sure it's a level playing field for everyone who gets started here. Again, even if you're not trying to compete, helping stay accountable is a big deal. And so those weekly checkpoints and then building with the community is going to be a great opportunity for you to just like hold your feet to the fire a little bit while we go through this. And then again, the Discord community. So we talked a little bit about this. 3 weeks. Week 1 is explore. Everyone needs to start from a Replit project fresh as of today. This is the key thing we're going to keep driving home throughout the competition. Automatic disqualification if you bring projects in that were started last week, last month, last year, whatever. We now have connectors to check how much people are using Replit, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. And we also will be able to validate the dates of this project. So there are creative ways. Obviously, you're able to use other AI, you're able to use other services. We're going to talk about how we score this stuff, but we want the majority of the work to be done in Replit in a new project that started as of today. So again, very important to keep that in mind. Week 2, we'll use Agent 4 to turn your idea into a web app, mobile app, pitch deck, et cetera, the marketing assets you need to get to market. And then week 3, we're really going to spend some time focusing on how do we get this out into the world. A lot of these build-a-thons, a lot of things that people are doing like this are all about, hey, let's build something cool. Okay, great. Lots of people say they can build something cool. What we want to show is that you can build production-ready products and that you can kind of get to market quickly. This doesn't mean you're going to have your full-scale application. This doesn't mean you're going to be doing everything you think you want to do with the application. This means you're going to have something minimum that's usable, that solves the problem that we're going to define here, and then you get that into the market and you start validating with people. That could mean users, that could mean your first sale, that could mean building up a wait list. There's all sorts of things that ship could mean. And so this isn't just going to be like, hey, if you have a big audience, you're going to win this part of the category. So again, we'll talk about that a little bit more on the scoring side of things. The rundown, again, we talked about this. This is just another view. Monday, we'll send out an email with all the updates about the community as well as the Build-a-thon. You're used to seeing things like that from us. That's how you learn about the streams and other things. So that'll happen Monday still. Deep dives, these Tuesday live streams will be a deep dive. After this little Build-a-thon recap, we're going to do a deep dive into exploring ideas fast in Replit, as well as answer all your questions. So stay tuned for that. And then every week moving forward, we're going to do some kind of like technical, really deep into Replit to help you kind of move forward, just like we did with the mobile Build-a-thon. Office hours will be inside of Discord. This will be a chunk of time. Again, we're pulling in other professional vibe coders. Tanner from Replit is going to be joining us tomorrow. We've got a couple other folks from the team that are like hovering around the edges. So we're going to start figuring out how do we bring in other talent into these sessions to get real hands-on feedback. And we're also going to be tapping the ambassadors to not only be kind of in the Discord and hanging with us and sharing their insights, but also as judges. So again, we're going to talk about the judging process here in a second. Thursdays is all about distribution, right? So Thursdays, again, we talked about getting out to market. So the gallery that you see, we're going to go to the website here in a second. it is going to showcase all of the projects that are eligible to be voted on, and you will be able to vote and score and engage with. And part of your score, part of your qualification will be sharing and engaging with other people's content, leaving notes, leaving feedback, scoring their project, so that we can all have a nice snapshot of what's going on and hopefully help other people find their first 100 users or their first whatever it is. And so part of this is going to be encouraging the people that are participating in this build-a-thon to go engage with other participants. And hopefully we can create some kind of viral loop here. If we all start sharing each other's posts on social, if we all start engaging with each other's content, if we all start really giving valuable feedback, who knows what we could generate outside of this, and maybe a couple projects really take off through this. That would be really cool to see. And then Friday, Manny's going to do his showcase stream. And so we're all going to be building up to Friday showcase, where we're going to be showing off some of the best projects. We're going to be inviting folks from the community to come hang out with us live and chat and talk about what they're building. We're going to be watching the videos. So part of your process will be submitting videos. And so we'll be showcasing some of the best videos, some of the best projects. And so we're really going to try to do our best to use this platform, the Replit platform / Buildathon, to elevate the participants and see if we can get folks kind of breaking out in the surface with their projects. So we talked about the timeline: week 1 checkpoint, week 2 checkpoint, week 3 checkpoint. What we didn't talk about is that you don't have to submit all the checkpoints to be eligible for the weekly prize, right? So if you miss a checkpoint, no big deal. You can submit a checkpoint late. However, you're no longer qualified for the weekly prize if you submit a late checkpoint. If you want to qualify for the grand prize, then you need to submit all the checkpoints, okay? And so the grand prize is going to take home $10,000 cash, and then there's going to be 10 category winners that will take home $2,000 worth of credits each. This changed a little bit from what we had the other day. We wanted to kind of roll a little bit more chunkiness into the first place prizes. So $10,000 for the overall winner, $2,000 in Replit credits for 10 category winners, and each week we're going to give away $3,500 cash plus 5 $1,000 winners will get $1,000 worth of Replit credits directly in their account. So lots of cool enticements. Again, we're going to show you when we get to the website. This is not just like the best product, the most viral, the most users, right? There's a category for the underdog. There's a category for the most improved. There's categories for the crowd favorite, right? So there's going to be lots of opportunities for folks to be disruptive in this competition, I think. And just like we saw with the mobile build-a-thon, it was not the person that you thought was going to win, or maybe it was not the front runner at some point. It was not the type of app you thought you might see. And so I really expect to see a lot of creative projects submitted with this. And I want to talk a little bit now about how we're going to score these projects, because this is a big part of this. I want everyone to have a ton of visibility into how we're scoring this. The scores will not be visible to the public, but you will all have a chance to score. And again, we're going to share. I'm sure some of you are exploring the Buildathon site right now. It should have opened up with that when that timer ticked down to 0. And so again, we're going to jump over into that project here in just 1 second. So here's the things we're going to score you on. There's 6 criteria from 1 to 5. They have different weights on them. So some of them are weighted a little heavier. Some of them are weighted a little lighter. But this is exactly what we're going to be scoring you on. The judges, all the special judges, guest judges, staff judges, etc., are going to have this a rubric to follow. And we're making that rubric public to all of you. You can see it in the sidebar. Again, when we get to the website here in a second, we will show you that. Okay, clarity of concept. Is your messaging clear? Is this idea unique and novel? And do you have a defined audience and voice? This is very important. A lot of times people are like, oh, like nobody understands what I'm doing, or I can't find any audience. Well, it's like, can you explain this to a 5-year-old, right? And we're going to talk a little bit about how to break that idea down here in the second half of the show. Design and aesthetics. This is 1x. This is 14% of your score. So clarity of concept, 21%. Design and aesthetics, 14% of your score. Is this eye-catching? Is this a unique layout? Does this look vibe coded, or does this feel premium, right? Do you have a compelling brand voice? Again, carrying over from the clarity of concept, does your visual language speak to an end user? Is there something there that's going to attract people? And another thing, like, I don't know how you guys are going to do this, but we want to see premium level stuff from this submission. I know it's possible. I see what I'm building with this stuff. I see what other people are building with this stuff. So low effort submissions are going to get low scores. High effort submissions, you will see a reward for those types of things. Even if it's not the best app, we can tell when you put effort, when you put time into these things, right? Functionality and features, another 14%. Is this an obvious use case? Is the app functional and feature complete? Can I actually use this thing, right? If we log into your app and we can't do it, it's not obvious what to do with this thing, it's clunky, it keeps breaking down, that's going to get you a low score. If we go in there and it's like, oh, this beautiful onboarding process, I immediately know what to do, I can click around and get some value out of the app immediately. We've talked about that over the last few streams. Okay, great. That's going to get you a high score. Okay. Marketing and distribution. This is 21% of your score. Social traction, clear marketing validation, paying customers, growing waitlist. All of this stuff is going to play in, right? Again, it's not the be all end all, but you should have something here that we can look at and be like, oh, this person validated this idea and they got their first 5 users, 10 users, 100 users. Oh, they had a cool post here. Look, they got 1,000 people on their landing page. We won't be able to verify and validate all that, but we'll be doing our best judgment to kind of understand who's doing what. And again, it's not just about volume. It's about you taking the effort, right? Like, and putting some effort in here. And if you're doing 1, 2, and 3 right, number 4 should kind of come naturally to you as a progression. Number 5 is checkpoint adherence. This is, did you fill out the forms correctly, right? Every checkpoint, there's going to be a form. It's not a crazy form. It's going to ask you to submit your social content. It's going to ask you to submit a little bit about, what you did that week and, something about what you learned, maybe an image of what you're doing, right? So you'll have to fill out that form. Those are the checkpoints that we talked about earlier. And we'll discuss, again, we'll show you what that looks like here now in the interface in just a second. And then 21% of the score is going to be the use of Replit. How well did you use it? How broadly did you use the different skills inside of Replit, the tools inside of Replit, integrations, connectors, all the different multi-artifacts? Like, how did you put Replit to the test inside of this project is going to be a big part of the score, just as much as anything else. So you can excel in 1 or 2, or you can fall short in one of these and still come out right. And then, I think, again, this will help balance and let everyone know exactly what we're judging on. Last time it felt in the mobile Buildathon, there wasn't like an exact criteria for this. So hopefully this will be a lot more clear from everyone. Again, re-emphasizing, start from a blank slate. We will check the date on these projects. Projects must be created on or after March 24th. That's today. Okay. We're not going to check noon Eastern time that the stream started, but today, right? On the date stamp, on the UTC timestamp in your Replit project must be today. Okay. 3 weekly checkpoints, Thursdays at 9 p.m. This is when the checkpoints are due. So you'll see in the dashboard each week, you'll see a nice onboarding flow. Again, we're going to show you that in just a second. And those checkpoints need to be in by Thursday because we're going to spend Thursday promoting this and preparing for the showcase. So you really want to make sure your checkpoints in early and for sure before Thursday at noon, because that's when we're going to then start driving some traffic and activity to the gallery page for everyone to kind of explore and get excited about checking out what everyone's building. And like we mentioned, other AI tools are allowed, but the majority of the project must be built in Replit, and we will be checking this, and I'll show you a fun way we're going to do that here in just a sec. Okay, so I think that's that for now. Before we get into exploring ideas fast, let me pull up here and pull in Manny. Oh, hang on. I think
What's up, everybody? How's it going? Good to see you all. Super pumped about today's launch. What's up, Rymar? I'm back.
What's going on? Yeah, it's wild.
Yeah, you cut out there like when you were going over how we're scoring things for just like a second. I put you back in, but I don't think people missed too much. But
okay,
just like
great.
for like 5 seconds or so. Great. Chat's been very active. A couple of things, everybody. Our site is having some issues right now. We're gonna get on it right after the stream, but just Rymar, FYI.
What's happening?
Yeah, for some reason it's crashing for folks. We're getting some rate limit errors on the site when people are trying to go to this go there and pull it up. I see it on my end too, and a number of folks have commented in the chat. And as I try to refresh it on my end as well, it's a little bit slow to refresh. So
interesting. I wonder if it's because there's so many people live on.
I think that's what it is. Yeah.
Right now.
Rymar, did you set it to auto scale rather than reserve VM?
I do have it on auto scale. Yeah. I do have it on auto scale. Interesting.
Anyhow, so we'll get on that right after the stream. And don't worry, you're going to get a follow-up email if you registered for the Luma event.
It's for the login.
Yeah, if you register for the Luma event, you'll get a follow-up email. You also get a follow-up email if you've already registered. But nevertheless, we'll also keep you guys updated on social. So check back and you'll be able to register. Question number 2 that I'm getting, Rymar, is who can join? So people are asking like, hey, if I'm on the starter plan or I'm on the core plan, pro plan, obviously if you're pro core, definitely jump in. And even if you're on the starter plan, which is our freemium plan, you can join this build-a-thon as well. So no matter what plan you're on, we encourage you to join the build-a-thon. Oh, okay.
Everywhere, huh? It kicked me out from everywhere. Yeah, I just got to be added back to all the slides, I guess, when that happens. Okay. This is interesting on the presence publisher app. Let's go here. Let's do this. I'm going to see if I can fix this real quick.
As you're doing that, I'll go through some of the other questions that I saw in the chat. And are mobile apps allowed? Yes, mobile apps are definitely allowed. So if there's a game, if there's a new tool you want to build, you can build a mobile app and you can submit that as well. You can use that as your build-a-thon item. Discord link. So Discord link is going to be made available soon. Right now, we just need you to.
It's live right now.
It's live right now. Okay.
If you are on the Buildathon page and you've registered, let me go to that view. Where's my screen share? Oh, this one. Yeah, so if we go here, nope, here, let's go to this one. Yeah, you'll see a section here, Build with Friends. And when you're registered, this will be a login to access Discord button right here. That will give you the access to go to Discord. And if you go to the Community Hub, if you come to the Community Hub and you go to Discord here, you will see the ability to log into Discord. So you'll have to log in with Replit here, and you'll then get access. So you have to go to the Buildathon Hub and register first. And then from there, you should be able to go and claim that Discord access. If you have a problem with Discord at any time, you just come here, click disconnect, make sure you disconnect that, and then reconnect to Discord. So to claim your linked role in Discord, we just need to have fresh metadata in Discord. So if there's any problem and you can't claim the linked role or you're not getting the thing you expect, just come back, disconnect, and reconnect Discord. And usually that just needs a fresh push. The other thing is there's a handful of plans that sometimes come back as free, even though you're on a pro or higher or core plan. And so there's just a small gap that we're trying to figure out why there's a handful of folks that are spilling through. So if that happens, please reach out to one of us, either on X or in Discord, Slack, etc. We're trying to identify where those folks are falling through the gap. But it's a small minority of folks. Most people seem to be getting in fine. But yeah, that's how you get access to Discord.
Awesome. So once you register, you'll be able to get onto the Discord via that link.
Correct.
Okay, perfect. Second question another question that we're getting is around international participants. Yes, this is open to everybody. Is that right, Rymar?
Correct. Anyone around the world, as long as you hit the checkpoints, and the checkpoints will normalize, I think, to show in your local time zone. So just a heads up, I think it's set up. Most of the date stamps are set up to normalize. I can't remember if the checkpoints 100% do, but most of the dates in the app are set up to normalize across the app.
Awesome. Great.
Okay.
So yeah,
and if folks want to reload the Buildathon page, I have just reverted back to a version here that should now be okay for folks.
Real-time debugging. Let's see here. Yep, it's refreshing for me now.
Okay, so hopefully that works for folks. That's what you get for trying to push last-minute updates right before the stream. Vibe coding to the max here.
That's my fault. I was pinging Rymar for last-minute requests. Like, I need this.
Okay,
so that's how me, dude.
So now we're in. You'll see everyone has a profile page. So if I click on the profile page, it's going to take me to my profile. I did dox this a second ago, so let's see what happens. If I click on this, not everyone will see this just yet, by the way. This is something we're going to start rolling out slowly. to Buildathon participants, starting with ambassadors and then other builders across the community. But basically, you will have a little profile that kind of shows your build usage. And this is, again, we talked about like being able to understand how people are using the app. This is part of the systems we're building on the back end. One of the things that happened during the mobile Build-a-thon is that a lot of people were trying to submit projects that they created in other places or old projects or things that just hadn't been built in Replit. And we had a hard time distinguishing that at the end. It's one of the reasons the voting took so long, is because we had to do a lot of like vetting and understanding like what was happening. So a lot of that stuff's now built into this. So anyway, you're in here. You can edit your profile. Soon you'll see this builder profile roll out as we roll out those different users, but make sure your bio is complete. That will be step one. Okay, so just save your bio. And then you will see the option here. Come on, baby. Okay, you will see the option here to rate exceeded. Okay. I wonder what's going on. There's like too many people trying to log in with Replit right now. I wonder if there's a limit to how many people can log in with Replit at once, like in a single amount of time.
Like on the auth?
Yeah. It's like this API login, right? It's like I wonder if there's a rate limit that's being set, and it just thinks we're being like, I think the site thinks we're being like attacked, brute force or something is what's happening.
A DDoS attack or something.
Yeah, there's some kind of something that like thinks this many people trying to log in as once is like bot traffic. I think that's what's happening. Interesting.
Yeah, I'm getting that too, folks, as well.
Oh, that is a serious bummer. Okay, we will fix that immediately after the stream. Apologies for that, folks. I'm not really sure what's going on there, but let's get into the gist of this, because you don't need the Buildathon site to get started, right? So at this point, I want to talk a little bit about exploring ideas fast with Replit.
Reimer, before we get into that, we got a big question that keeps coming up. Yeah. Credits. Okay. We're not giving out free credits for the Buildathon. You're going to build on your own credits, but we have some very generous prizes every week and at the end of the Buildathon. So we like, yeah, for your builds, it's going to be all your own credits that you're going to be using. Number two, around IP ownership. Who owns it? You own it. If you build it on Replit, you own it, and that's yours to use. Whatever you want to do with it after the Buildathon, you get to own it. And then there's another question around IP protection. How do we protect our IP? I think there's no good way to protect the IP, especially when you're like this early in the process, when you're in the ideation process. I think, it's just like about you building what you care about deeply and being better than everybody else at that thing that you're building and going to market and owning that. So I think, there's just no protection around it anywhere. Like when you're building in public, like that's just a common thing that happens. So I wouldn't worry too much about that. Right now, your job is to create something really cool and interesting, ship it, take it to market, get users, get paid folks, and share it with the world.
Okay. Give me cover for half a second here, Manny.
Yeah, no worries. So let me fill a couple of other questions here. Yeah, somebody's mentioning they love the go-to-market aspect of this. Yes, that's what we're finding quite a bit. I mean, folks can build a number of really cool and interesting things in Replit. And so if everybody can build, everybody can vibe code something interesting, how do you differentiate yourself? What's the next level above that? And the common theme for us is you've got to distribute. You've got to ship. You've got to get it out there in the world. It's not enough for you to have an MVP in Replit that you're playing around with. You have to share it with folks. And that can mean a number of different things. It can mean that you're putting it out there and you're having users actually use your application. It can mean that you're getting paid users and you're monetizing your app. It can mean that you're sharing the tool with your internal team. One other thing that we want to encourage folks to think about here is around thinking about what type of tools you might want to vibe code that's going to make your life easier and going to be valuable to your team. That's something else that you can build in this Buildathon and share that. And so it's about getting it in front of people that can actually derive value from your application. And that can mean, again, users, it can be paid users. It can mean something that you're sharing out there in the world. If you want to build a personal portfolio website and you've not done that before, that works as well. You can get it out there, share it on socials, and have that be kind of your landing page on the internet. So any number of ways you can go about this, but the key point here is that you're getting it in front of people. It's getting outside of your own little Replit account, and you're sharing it with folks.
Yeah, 100%. And we're going to start with that literally. The concept is today. Like today, as we're going to go through, we're going to spend the rest of the time here. We're going to finish answering the questions, and then we're going to talk about how you build on top of that from week one. So you shouldn't like wait till you go build your MVP to start going to get validation. So hopefully what we walk out of by week one and some of the assets we're going to share is how have you started packaging this stuff up? How have you started thinking about these things? And how quickly can you go do some of this distribution with these early ideas to figure out, is this something I should build or is this something I should pivot from? And what I mean by that is like during the mobile Buildathon, a lot of people came in with these ideas and they had these like grand ideas. We're going to build this massive blah, blah, bleepity bop. It's going to be the best whatever to do ever. And as we started talking about it, it's like, oh, this has so many features. It has so many like onboarding sequences so long, blah, blah, blah. And so we help them identify, oh, this is what the app should really do. Get rid of all this other onboarding stuff. Just try to do X, Y, Z, and like, let's do it like that. And they came back the next week and the app was tight and polished. And like the improvement we saw from week 1 to week 2 was significant because people got feedback, right? If you start building in isolation and you just start add feature, and you start doing all this stuff, it's not really going to like, you're not going to get as good a product as if you go through these iteration cycles. This is one of the reasons we want to do a 3-week iteration cycle. Step 1, organize your ideas, take them out to the market, get some feedback. Okay, great. Now what do we build? Now I at least take some time. Most people just start building, right? And so you want to think, build, and then you go to market.
100%. 100%.
Okay.
Some folks are asking about, how do I choose a team? So yeah, that's one other thing to mention. You can work in this Buildathon with a team. How you choose them, I don't know. What do you think, Reimar? Like folks connecting on Discord, chatting, seeing if they have like similar ideas they want to work on. If you have a buddy that you want to join a Buildathon with, that works as well. So I would say like, yeah, if you join a Buildathon with somebody, that works. Or if you want to meet somebody in Discord, that's another option as well.
Yeah. And okay, so other thing, be very careful who you invite into this team. Anyone you invite in this team will be able to submit checkpoints, edit your project, and when we go to divvy the prizes up, we got their Replit emails. So you want to be real careful if you invite. Don't make this, like invite the wrong person. You do all the work, and they come along for the prize, and then they split the prize with you at the end, right? So you want to be really careful, just like a co-founder. Who do you bring into this project? If I was thinking about bringing a teammate on, I would be thinking about what gaps do I have and who can I find out there that fills those gaps, but brings other values to the table that are necessary to like really stand out here. So if I was a technical person, I'd be looking for a designer. If I was a designer, I'd be looking for a technical person. If I was somebody with an audience, I would be looking for somebody who could build and maybe help me get my idea into the market, right? So like I would be thinking about this really strategically, just like you would about finding a co-founder or finding somebody, to start a business with.
Yes, but you don't have to join a team. You could definitely do it on your own. If it's easier for you to do it on your own, it might be easier just to do it on your own. You can definitely do that. Number of projects per team or person, that's 1. So we're going to have you work on 1 project throughout the Buildathon. Is that right, Reimar?
Correct.
Okay.
You get 1 project per Replit account. And we don't really have a way of finding multiple people submitting, like creating separate accounts. But I don't know how you're going to divvy your time into all that. And the spirit of the competition is 1 Replit user, 1 project, or 1 Replit user, 1 team. Again, that team will be responsible for kind of associating those people. And if we discover that you're trying to trick the system, you'll get disqualified. So just don't do that, right? Like, just don't try to trick the system. We've built lots of things into this to stop you from trying to trick the system. If we find out you're trying to trick the system, we're just going to get better at that, and don't do it. We're going to disqualify you. So like, the spirit here is we're all building together, and we're all kind of following the same rules, and we're all trying to kind of grow as a team. And so if you are somebody who thinks you want to circumvent that, then you can go build everything you want, but it's probably not, the Buildathon's not for you. So just keep that in mind. We're looking for anomalies in these projects now.
Yeah, and also, yes, the project must start this week, so you can't bring an existing project into the Buildathon. We want you to start fresh with everybody, with your cohort, going through all the different steps and motions, starting with a new project that was started this week.
Yeah, I want to address this right now because this is absolutely not true. Man, this competition is really weighted towards businesses and people with advanced tech and dev skills, and not towards a normal person trying to build the very first time. Absolute nonsense. This competition is geared to put everyone on a level playing field and allow anyone to kind of do something creative and stand out, right? So a business person might have an advantage because they have a business and they've done some of this before, but they have to start from scratch just like you. What this competition is going to do is going to show us who has high agency, who is creative and can kind of think inside the constraints of the competition to do something really cool, and who can then put something together in a short amount of time that looks viable at the end of this process. And so how much time you spend on that, what your skills are at that, like, it's going to be a mixed bag across the board. We're going to do things like beginners content, as well as, again, diving into how to think through some of this stuff as part of this. And so don't get too stressed about that. I think there are plenty of opportunities for people of all skill sets to come and take advantage of this.
Yeah, Sean, we're referring to here is building in public. Is as you're building, we're going to ask you to share what you built that particular week and post that on socials and share it with the world. So again, it's like about sharing your process, your journey, and what you're learning every week, week to week, and we're going to highly encourage that in this competition. So that's what we're referring to when we talk about share building in public.
Yeah. Yeah, and this is a big part of everything. Like, we talk about this every week, distribution. If you think you're just going to build in a silo and you're just going to build at home and you're just going to like build something and put it on the internet and people are going to find it, I'm sorry, you just got another thing coming. That was like 10 years ago. Now you're in the moment where you have to be a builder, a marketer, a media person, a sales executive. You got to be like all these different things to succeed. And part of this Buildathon is like, who's got those skills? There's lots of people that have some of those skills. Can you learn some of those skills? What can you go research and put together? And so like, you got a week in between sessions. You got, like the checkpoint comes once a week. And so, yeah, I think this is just a creative challenge in my mind, right? What's the coolest thing you can come up with that feels and seems marketable as you go through this?
And I there's some folks that are in the chat concerned about people stealing their idea. I mean, you hear this all the time in the startup world. Like, your idea is nothing. Everybody has ideas. What matters is execution, and also being out there and visible about expressing the pain point that you're solving and why you're the person to solve it. So I think you just gotta like put that aside and say like, hey man, like, ideas are a dime a dozen. What's going to matter if I'm out there sharing what I'm building, sharing why I'm passionate about what I'm building, and owning that brand, owning that distribution. And that's going to be your moat. That's going to be your protection. But whether you're building in public or you're building in private, there's no protection against somebody coming in and trying to do what you're doing. The only protection against that is whether or not you're going to do it better, you're going to do it harder, and whether or not you're going to be more well known for providing that service. That's going to be your moat.
Yeah. Yeah, especially in the world we're in now. Especially
Like,
in the
I
world.
code everything.
Well, it's just like you see stuff online and you get an inspiration from here, and then you see another thing the next day, and you see this other thing the next day, and maybe you're not stealing one idea, but you're stealing inspiration from a handful of things that then comes together into this new thing, right? And so if folks could check, I think the Buildathon Hub is live. It was an API restriction. It was too many people trying to hit the login because we had that connected to the Luma sync, the event sync. So again, everyone should be synced here and ready to go. I'm hoping that we have no problems anymore. So let's go check this out. You should be able to now click to register your project on the site. You will officially join the Buildathon at that point, and then it will give you the options to kind of fill in. Okay, so it's got my profile already completed. There we go. Got the project name. I can set up my project here. So this is my cool project. This is the description. for my cool project. And then you can take any image you want here. Let's see, click to upload. We'll just put, let's go to assets. Let's just go with this one. Okay, public URL. This could be the project that you're sharing. This is the complete project. So I'm just gonna put my website in here to fill it in. And then this needs to be a Replit URL, right? So this needs to be a Replit project. Let me go into, where is it at? There we go. This needs to be an actual Replit URL. If I go in here and put that in, and then I needed to add a tag. Okay, so whatever my project. So this is gonna be like design focused or whatever you wanna do, AI mobile app, right? And so then if you wanna add teammates, this is where that happens. You can name a team and you can then invite team members to that team. This is just their Replit user ID, their Replit email. This isn't gonna send them an email or anything, but if they have a Replit ID or a Replit email and they're registered in the system, this will send them an invite in their portal to accept that invite. So if I save and continue this, okay, great. Hello. What's happening here with just so many people on it?
Yeah, it's some other
Are
folks in
people
the
still
chat.
getting the rate limit?
Yeah, well, they're getting some issues, and then I'm also trying to refresh on my end, and it's slow for me.
Interesting. Interesting. Okay. These will be fixed by Thursday by the time you all need to submit your projects. Okay. Let's get into the nuts of this here. Because I want to talk a little bit about the exploring ideas fast. I want to take the rest of the time here and get into like how to shape some of these ideas. We'll fix these. Yeah, still rate limits. Okay. Rate exceeded. Did you all refresh by chance? I'm wondering if, yeah, okay, let me just look into that. I'm not sure what's going on. There's some kind of API call in the back that's like just slamming the server. And I'm not, I can't fix it right now live on the stream. I tried to revert, but okay. We will fix that right after the stream, y'all. But let's go into exploring ideas fast in Replit here. So I heard a bunch of people talking about, hey, I don't know what to focus on. I have a bunch of ideas. I'm not sure which idea I want to chase. So I want to talk a little bit about how I think through ideas like this. And maybe Manny, we can just talk a little bit about, because you probably do some of this too. But I want to talk a number of things about not just thinking through the idea, but then how do you take that idea and digest it into things that the agent can understand or work with, right? Because it's easy to have this grand vision. I want to build the next social network. I'm going to build the next TikTok. I'm going to build the next Uber. You know, like, all right. And you look at Uber and you see the app and you see it has all these features and it has real-time traffic monitoring and you can, you know, change the type of thing you want to order. And you just like see this feature complete app that's taken 10 years to build. And you're like, that's what I want. I'm sorry. You can't have that. Just get that out of your head. You can't have that. That's not yours. Just remove that from your brain. What you have to remember is that Uber started with a very simple ride-hailing service. Same thing with Airbnb. Hey, here's a list. I got a couch in my bed. If you want to come sleep in this city, like you can come rent this couch. And the app was very simple, very, very, very rudimentary early on, and it evolved into the thing, right? And so that's where you have to think about this product, right? Like whatever you're thinking about here, the goal at the end of the competition is not to have the Uber version of it. It's to have the what can I take out to market today and start validating this thing in a way that gets me, lets me know, should I continue to invest in this or not, right? You're spending Replit credits on this. You're spending brain cells on this. You're running through, you know, like mental cycles on all of this. So what does that mean? Right? Like, what does that mean? And how do you break that stuff down? So let me go through some of the stuff I'm thinking about for the Agent 4 Buildathon. Because again, I'm going to be building alongside you. And so I had a couple, oh, go ahead.
Yeah, no, and that's a great anecdote, especially around Uber. People forget that Uber started off with the founder just on the phone and routing limousines of different people to his friends. He's like, hey, if you're out at night, let me know and I'll send you a limousine. And that's how he tested it. That's how it was sort of his early market testing. So yeah, like, you're trying to validate that there's pain point that you're addressing, that you have a service that people be willing to pay for, and that can be hacky early on. But you're really just trying to validate that hypothesis early on.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. And okay, so let me just dive into 3 things that I've been thinking about for this Build-a-thon. 3 ideas that have just kind of been in my head for a while that I could easily take to market. I'm not sure if there's any monetization opportunities here. I'm not sure, like what the right move is for any of these, but I'm just going to think through these things. And I've kind of cheated a little bit because I've thought a little bit about these for a while. But I want to show you how I think through, and then we're going to go through some of this as I'm thinking. So, okay. So brag sheet is like a concept that I've had for a while. It's this idea that like, and I'm thinking about redoing my personal website right now. So the concept is like, what if we, took the idea of a website, a resume, a portfolio, and turned it into something that's like a brag sheet, a little bit more social, a little less like structural and thing that I need to like spend all this time maintaining. I don't want to do WordPress or Webflow or any of these like complicated platforms. I want something more like a link tree. But I also want it to like pull in social and like my most recent YouTubes. And I don't want to have to like manually update any of that stuff. I just kind of want that to happen. And then as I do things or as I see press or as stuff happens about my career or whatever, I want to be able to send that into this and just have a brag sheet, a thing that like shows off. Here's the interesting things that has happened in Reimar's last week, last 90 days, last year, 10 years, right? And I would like to like look back on that. And I don't think like modern websites kind of handle this. I don't think social media is set up for this because social media's got a lot of churn. It's like, I just want to see the highlights of the best moments or even things that I didn't post, maybe other stuff that people post. It's like, how do you start aggregating and thinking about some of that? So that's one idea that I'm thinking of. There's also like the ability to showcase projects. And so the problem that I have on my website right now is that I'm building all of these things. Excuse me. I'm building all these things, but then they're all distributed. So how do I link those back to my personal website, right? I don't want to have to go in and manually update my website every time. So I kind of want to just like, again, organize all these things in one place. So that's one idea. That's kind of leading my thought process right now. From a fun side, I bought this URL the other day called Replit. And the idea for this is a place to store the viral recipes you find online that will then become like your little shopping buddy. So, a lot of times you're scrolling on Instagram and you see like a cool recipe or something you want to save and you save it, you bookmark it. But then when you're at the grocery store, you're like, I'm not going through my Instagram bookmarks. Like, but what if you had a to-do list that it had created for you that's like, here's the recipes you wanted to buy this week, or here's your grocery shopping list based on the recipes you saved, or I don't know. I thought it could be fun. Fun name, a little more viral potential. I don't know if there's any revenue potential for this one. The other thing I've been thinking about for a little while is this personal timeline. There's all these like life milestone moments. I moved over here. I got married. I got divorced. I got this job. Like whatever. There's like all these things that then mix, like I was living in this place. And so maybe you want a place that can kind of archive your life that's private to you, where you can kind of put a timeline together and you can say like, oh, hey, I started a new job here, or I met so-and-so here, or whatever about your life. And maybe you can pull in from social, and this becomes a way to archive your favorite stuff from social. But maybe these timelines can intersect with other people's timelines. Or maybe I could have nested timelines, or maybe we could have a family tree and other people fill in their timelines, and now we can see our lineage, and people can drop their ancestry results or their other things. And it becomes kind of like a private family timeline thing that you can share with folks. I don't know. So those are kind of 3 ideas that I'm like tinkering with and thinking about. I'd be interested to know, like, Manny, like out of those, does something scream at you? Is the audience reacting to any of this? Because maybe we're going to spend some time, filling out this lean canvas a little bit. And then I want to talk a little bit down here about my actual creative process. And that's going to be the next set. I want to spend a chunk of time talking about like how I break these ideas down And I'd like to pick one of these ideas to kind of break down and maybe use it as an example as we walk through this. So I'm wondering if
People are
anybody's
commenting on brag sheet, the Replit. People also like. Drop it in the chat. Which one do you want to see Rymar go into a little bit deeper? Those are the two that
Yeah.
I'm seeing some comments for.
Interesting timeline for single goals. I have this personal timeline idea. Tool 2, laugh out loud. Yeah, there we go. Acceptable to use an X account as public facing. Yes, you can do all your stuff on X, sure.
And I guess remember the key thing is that you're scratching your own
sheet. I like the brag sheet.
you're scratching your own itch here, obviously. But then, would you see this turning into a service you would provide for other folks, or is just for you to kind of have out there to kind of help yourself out?
Which one? The brag sheet?
Yeah, well, any of them.
The brag sheet I would probably build as a little platform, and I would let other people put their brag sheets together, because what I think would be cool is like we could have a group of like meet my squad, and we brag about each other, and we create these little networks where everyone's kind of bragging about what they do. But then maybe in the middle, we put the best of each person's stuff. And now we have like a little circle that's like, hey, look at what we're doing. And everyone's now pointing back at themselves and saying like, look at how cool my friends are. And look at this guy and that guy. And then like, it becomes kind of a central hub for kind of showing off how different networks. Maybe you have a business network. Maybe you have a different, like a couple different groups where you're kind of all bragging on each other. Or I don't know. That's how I'm seeing it. Recipes is a cool idea. The only thing I worry about the Recipes site is getting the content off the social networks. That's been my only caveat from a high level thinking standpoint, is how do we get this off of the platforms, And then you have to build kind of a 2-layer marketplace here, where I'd have to like find a way to get the apps off, and then I'd have to find a way to like get people using the apps, and then I'd need to find advertisers or somebody else to pay because all these people are using the app. So this is one of those that like it seems fun, but it could also be like a world, like a big nightmare, and I'm not sure how to get it to market. So that's the thing I'm thinking about, especially in the timeline we have to get and this probably has to be a mobile app. So that's another caveat I'm thinking is like, could I get a mobile app done and pushed to Apple in the next 3 weeks? It may be able to start as a web
consideration.
App.
Yeah, with people asking about mobile apps, is you have to think about whether or not you're going to be able to get it to. I guess if someone submitted a mobile app, Rymar, do they have to have it on the App Store?
No. For this, you do not have to have your app in the App Store. An Expo link will do as your demo. That'll be fine. A published Expo link, not your development Expo link.
Oh, perfect. Okay, that'd be straightforward then.
Yeah. Okay, brag sheet idea is brilliant. I know this is the one I kind of been thinking the most, and I really want to redo my personal portfolio. So maybe this is one of those things where I can so hear this out. I've got a cluster F of a website, because I have my old website in WordPress, and then this front page is in Webflow, but it's like all mapped together. And so for years I've been like, I need to redo my personal website. So that's when I started thinking about brag sheet. And you said this earlier, it's like you're solving a problem for yourself. And this also feels like the one I could have the most success at actually building in Replit in the course of time and actually making it something cool. Okay, so maybe we go with that one. I do like the personal timeline thing, but I'm also not sure the marketability of this is a little more niche, But it would be cool to have like my friend's timeline or my family timeline or whatever, and like you can share moments, invite people to special moments. I don't know.
Yeah. And if you're like Rymar, you have multiple ideas, you can work on all 3 of them at once. You just can't submit all of them, right? So maybe you want to scratch all those itches.
Well, then what you might want to do, so for instance, what I might want to do is take one of these into plan mode in a new Replit project and ask it to tell me what kind of technology I would need, what's the process, how complicated, and I might do that with a couple different ideas. I might ask the agent to give me a couple versions of the UI that I want to see for each of these on the canvas, right?
One other tip that I would recommend for folks that's been super helpful for me is thinking about what the landing page would look like for each one of these ideas early on in the process. I feel like that's always like a really good exercise for me to think about the marketability of something, like the key features. It's like usually you have like your hero page, like the make tagline, what are you providing, what pain are you solving, and then like 3 key features that is gonna get someone's attention. and then working backwards from that, saying like, okay, that's what I have to build to go to market to get people's attention, things that folks are gonna find interesting. So just one other tactic that I would offer for folks is thinking with that end in mind, like what's that tweet that you would send out when you share it with the world? Like what's that
Yeah.
hook? What are those like key wow features that someone's gonna be like, oh, that's really cool, and think about that early before as you're planning for your app.
Let's see what we get here. I'm going to tell this to let's build a couple variations of a mock-up landing page for this brag sheet. I want to think about this like a blend between a personal website, a link in bio, kind of like a link tree type thing, link me type thing, but also like a resume. So basically this will allow me to show off my best work, a little bit of a bio, and then show off the things that I'm working on in a feed on the right side, almost like a grid masonry feed. So I'm going to give you a little bit of additional context about how this all plays together, and build me a landing page that build me 3 versions of a landing page that kind of represent this concept. And if you're looking here, I am in Replit right now, right? Like I'm literally on the new canvas in Replit here. Okay. And this is, if you're interested, I am in the slides project, literally the slides that we used for the demo today. I just opened up that canvas and here we are, right? And so I'm going to highlight this stuff. Oh, dang, I just lost my prompt that I sent to this thing. Ooh, you know what though? I love you, Whisperflow. Watch this. Hey.
Previous prompt.
Okay.
Previous transcript.
Yep. Okay. So I'm just going to send this now to the agent. Let me start a new chat here. So I'm going to start a new chat. So we have fresh context. You can see it says 29 canvas elements selected. And I'm just going to go ahead and send this. And now the agent will hopefully start doing its thing. Go ahead.
And that's right, Dario. When you're working on the canvas, there's no charge. The only charge comes when you send a prompt into the agent. That's when the tokens will start getting used up. But if you're playing around the canvas, you're copy pasting things, you're writing on there, there's no charge for you to do that.
Okay. I just pushed one more thing. When this thing gets done publishing, we'll see if the website's back online, which to me is absolutely bonkers about how quickly that type of thing can happen. You know, like obviously it's like everything. You're trying to build up to the last minute. You're like, oh, this one more little thing. And then, you know, this is why we test things. This is why we work through things. This is why.
But it's hard to test at that scale, though, right?
Yeah.
Right, Mark? Like
it's also hard to test.
1,000 people hitting the site all at
Correct.
once. You
Correct.
just don't know.
That's the biggest thing. Is like it's easy to test with 5-10 people, but then when you have thousands of people that try to hit the site or 1,000 people that try to hit it. Okay, so what the agent's doing now is I gave it those instructions, right? You saw me throw that prompt in there in that little checkbox. I thought it would pass it to here. It's interesting that it doesn't, but it's doing that now. It's giving me a split profile view, and you can go through these. Like you can click in to, you know, like go see them, but there's nothing to see here just yet. So while that's working, let me just talk a little bit about breaking the problem down. Let me just go into the nuance of this, because this is a big deal, right? And it's funny, I kind of presumed we were going to go with the brag sheet concept, because that's what I thought through here. Because the first thing I thought was, let's rethink the modern resume. But really, like, what's a resume? It's a website. Oh, a website's a portfolio. It shows off my work. And so that's where I started thinking, okay, so if we come over here, what is it? Okay, a place to showcase my best work, a place to write and connect with the world, a place to capture my professional history. It builds value over time. I want it easy to be update from anywhere. And I want it always to be current with my most recent social content. So a website does some of those, a resume does some of those, a portfolio does some of those, but ideally this brag sheet will do all of those. And so what I've already designed here and outlined, and what you just saw me pass to the agent as context, is that as a general basic requirement, right? And then I've got a copy of my current landing page here, our information architecture that we'll talk about in just a second. But I wanted to start here because what you've seen is that I just dumped my brain on this sheet, right? There's no structure to this. There's no real, like, here's what I'm going to do. I just started capturing ideas and organizing these things into a bucket. Start by writing everything down, requirements, edge cases, constraints, without trying to organize it. Don't think about this goes here, this goes there. Just think about everything. Just drop all the ideas you have. A doc is good for this. A canvas is good for this. Whether you want to be inside Replit canvas, whether you have a preferred canvas, whether you're in Figma, TL Draw, wherever you are, whatever your workspace is, just get the ideas out of your head and throw them out everywhere, right? Like I do this all the time. I always have this little sketchbook next to me, and I'm always just like literally randomly the most crazy, just it just happens, right? Doodles, sketches, whatever. Every time I have an idea, it almost always starts on this piece of paper. Then from there, I'll bring it into something like this. I start organizing things, I start throwing things at it, and I start trying to figure out what is the main problem here. Again, going back to trying to build Uber, sure, now they have this big ecosystem. We can, like order food and delivery, and they'll run carrier services, and I can have different types of cars, and there's all this stuff. But what was the main problem? I need someone to pick me up and take me somewhere else. What if everyone had a personal driver? That was the promise of early Uber, right? And so that was their core problem. So you have to figure out, what is my core problem? For me, my core problem is my website is old. I never update it anymore. And I do all this stuff on the internet that I don't ever show anyone because it lives in all these different silos, right? So that's kind of my core problem, is that I have this large web that I'm building, but my website, the thing that's supposed to represent me, almost never shows the best work that I'm doing, the most recent work that I'm doing. So again, you have to identify the core problem, the thing that you think, I can solve this, regardless of all the millions of features. You will add the millions of features later. You need to find one thing, one problem to solve. This is the same thing that's happening with all these OpenClaw and all these agentic AI folks that are out there like doing this productivity porn, where they're building these massive systems. I got a chief operating officer and a marketing assistant and an ad buyer and a this and a that and a whatever. And you ask them, well, what does this thing do? And they're like, well, I don't know. It like gives me a report every day or whatever. It's like, okay, whatever. That's fun. Maybe it's cool to set it up. I get your tinkering at the front edge. What I would encourage you to do, and this is what I tell all of the people that are working with OpenClaw or any of these agentic tools, or even with Replit, what is the one thing that you can automate, that you can change, that you can replace and fix in this moment?
And I would think about, how would this look on a landing page? How would you try to communicate
No,
this?
hang on. We're not at that yet. Please, just let me get through this deal, because no, you're not thinking about design. None of that matters. You want the content and the idea and the functionality for what you're going to build. Everything else comes after, right? If you're doing a landing page and all you're doing is a marketing site, cool. You might want to go get some design inspiration and the copy and go at it, start building the landing pages immediately.
Well, no, I wasn't saying build a landing page, but referring to the copy that you would think about on the landing page. How would you try to pinpoint that pain? Like, you have that pain, but how do you communicate that to others? So the question that I would have for you,
hey, I got you. Let me just get through the flow, and we'll go through we'll get into the I just want to get through the curriculum here for a second. So okay. Just give me a sec. Okay, so you're going to draw the diagrams out for what you want to do. It's exactly what we're doing here. We're going to build out some flow charts. We're going to organize our content. We're going to put this thing into a way that starts to make sense to us. That's not exactly what this document is, but this document was me doing that to present this information. Okay, so after you've identified your core problem, you need to start thinking about, what do I want the user to do with this? How do I solve this problem with software? How do I automate this problem, right? What tech stack do I need? Can I build this inside of the tool that I'm thinking? All right. Do I need is it a browser extension? Okay, now there's a lot of things I have to think about before I'm thinking about what a website looks, if this browser extension can actually work. How does this browser extension talk to my back end? How does a user install this browser extension, right? Like, these are all complications that you need to think about before you start getting into, like, what are you actually going to build? Again, you're not building yet. We're thinking through the concept of what we want to build. So if you're going to build a browser extension, you might need to think about, okay, I have the browser extension. I'm going to need a backend that talks to that browser extension, which means I need a web app probably. A web app would be good. Maybe I don't need a web app. Maybe it can all happen in the browser extension. Okay, but where does that live? In a database. All right. Are there anything you're going to need to do in that database that will require a user interface? All right. Well, then you probably need a web app, right? And so now you start itemizing. All right, I'm going to need a web app. I'm going to need a browser extension. When the user logs into the website, how will they download the extension? Okay, and these are things you need to start thinking about long before any design, any marketing material, anything that even matters about how this is going to look, right? What you could do is start figuring out a wireframe. So like, let's say you say, okay, person logs in here, right? So this will be, whoop, text. Hang on, frame. We don't want a frame here. Text. Log in, right? So the person logs in here. And you can even ask the agent to create these flow for you, right? You could ask the agent, hey, create an onboarding flow for this app. Actually, we might do that. Let's see what we've gotten for a landing page. Let's go back here and let's just see what we've gotten for this. So this is, again, what Manny was saying. You just ask the agent for the basic version of this. And now we've got 2 versions of this that look super nice. What were you talking about over here? Trying to get the flow. Okay, great. So we could ask this, what do we want the user flow to be? And so now you've got your visuals. Now you got your diagrams. Now you can start doing what Manny was saying, which is like, does this do what I want? But even from here, you could take this to people and you could start sharing these. And these could be versions that you could take out into the audience. Okay. And then I'm going to give you a couple tips for breaking things down. And then we're going to go back into the design side of things. So as you think about building your software, as you think about building this idea, you want this idea of top-down planning, then bottom-up execution, right? So you want the Uber. You want to know everything you want from this thing from the top. But you can almost never start building a skyscraper from the top of the building. You have to lay the foundation, and that foundation is everything from the bottom. It's your infrastructure, it's your database, it's your information architecture. It's like all the little pieces of the app that need to come together to make this thing like a real piece of software, okay? And so it's good to have the big vision in mind, but you almost never want to give the agent that entire vision all at once, right? And so what you're going to do then is you break that thing down into your structural components. Database, information architecture. Okay, we need the back ends. We need some of the APIs built. Okay, then we have some front end built on top of that. You want to make sure you have your auth layer figured out inside of there again. And so these are things that you may want to ask early on in the project or while you're talking with the agent about how to build. And actually, if you come tomorrow to the Discord office hours, we'll probably shoot some of those things through and show you how exactly to break those things down. And then we'll go into week 2. You'll build your minimum viable product and then create test applications. So the user stories is also a very good piece here. One of the things that you should, again, do before you start writing a prompt, before you start thinking about design, before you start thinking about anything is when user A logs in, I want them to be able to create a website. Okay, create a brag sheet. All right, what's on that brag sheet? They need to be able to set their profile image. They need to be able to add a social link. They need to be able to add a URL or project to the timeline. Okay, great, right? And so like those things, when you add them as additional context to your prompt, if you have a minimum marketing requirement document or a minimum product requirement document that you put into the agent with your initial prompt, what you're basically telling the agent is like, here are the things functional wise that I want the project to do. I want it to be able to have this feature, and this feature. And you can even ask, how can we stagger these in a way that allows me to build on this as we go? I do this all the time, right? One of the things I have down here are these prompt optimizations. And these are things that I always ask the agent when I'm like in this phase of discovery, right? What should we be thinking about here that I've not asked you about? You should add that to almost every early stage prompt that you add into the agent, especially when you're exploring the nuances of this software. Most of the software you're going to be trying to build is not necessarily like unique, right? There's pieces of it, there's gems, there's libraries. We talk about learning the language all the time. So as you're going into this and as you're discovering what you want to build, I would go look at what other people have built in this space, take some inspiration, log into their websites, find their user flows, figure out exactly what it is about that product that people like, and figure out what can you do to bring that into your product. How can you like converge those ideas back into your thing? And then you can start thinking about like, okay, how do I lay this stuff out? What are best practices or commonly accepted industry standards for this type of project? You don't have to reinvent the wheel everywhere, right? Like this is stuff that you can pull in from other folks that shows exactly how these things should work, right? And so you don't need to like get creative where you need to get creative, but generally you want to follow best practices or commonly accepted industry standards for this type of stuff. One of the things I always tell the agent, make sure you verify our schema and workflow to make sure we're not duplicating codes or API calls. One of the things as you become more technical and as you start thinking as a software developer, which is what you need to do as you're getting into vibe coding, is that you're kind of like letting the agent know, hey, if you ask it to do something, it's going to do something. But maybe there's something in your application that it already does, and you can reference it. Hey, we already do this here. How can I add this to it? Right? Or, hey, I want to build this new service. How can that fit into our existing backend workflows? Because if you just say, build me X, it's going to start building parallel stuff next to it because it's not using that additional context. Even though it has the project, it won't always remember, especially if you're in deeper builds, that like you already have an API call for that. So you want to start thinking about these things. And then two final things that are just stuff you should think about as you're going through here is like you can always ask the agent to extract elements into reusable components and make sure you're avoiding code duplication with atomic elements. So again, once you figure out the core elements of what you want to build, then you can break it down into these little types of problems, right? So you can kind of build things in isolation. Make sure that everything on your back end is not dependent on the front end being linked up so that you can make changes to the front end without the back end. And again, these are things you can talk to the agent. These are things you can kind of, you should think of the agent as your co-pilot, as your friend, as your mentor, as your software developer, et cetera, as you go through this process. And what you want to do in this first week is spend as much time as you can thinking through a handful of things here. This is a lean canvas, as if anybody's ever seen it. This is something that's super helpful for folks to like just think through what they want to build. And it's a quick way to just list your top 3 problems. List the existing alternatives. What is your solution to those 3 problems? What key metrics, and activities will you measure to understand if you're being successful here? What is then the unique value proposition that this product is going to bring to the market, right? And what is this like? Is this worth buying? What's going to get me to engage? This is that like hook, right? And then the high level concept, you want to be able to explain this to your mom, right? You have to be able to explain this in a couple sentences to people who don't know anything about your industry. An unfair advantage is something that you have that you bring to the table that will make you stand out. This is that domain expert knowledge that we talk about. This is the, being an expert inside of an industry. What channels will you reach, right? Like you don't have to go across all the channels, but you should identify a couple channels. If it's a recipes app, well, I'd probably be better off on Instagram. If it's a productivity app, maybe I'm better on LinkedIn, right? So you need to think about where are you going to put this stuff out to give yourself the best chance for distribution. And then obviously you want to identify your customer segments and who you can start to get as early adopters. This could be mom, this could be friends, this could be a part of your community, this could be part of your accountability network. I don't know who this is, but you should identify in the next couple weeks, who are you going to be bugging about looking at your idea and figuring out how you can get them to help you validate this. And then from there, you can think about a revenue stream, right? How are you going to make money? Again, this doesn't have to be fully baked out. And once you have that, right? Once you've taken your idea and you've broken things down into their like bare bones components and you kind of have an idea, here's my priority A, B, and C, then you can start thinking about, let's open up a doc, let's open up a diagram, let's open up a spreadsheet, let's open up the agent, and let's start getting into, hey, now let's look at some visuals. Let's think about how do we organize this on the page? Do we want a simple, like Linktree style thing? Do we want more of a little interactive grid here? I don't really know. But we've got this stuff, right? So if I hadn't spent time kind of thinking through these things and dumping this stuff out here first, we can't get to this step, right? Which is why I wanted to make sure that we got through, just these kind of things before we get into this. And I just wanted to give the agent a little bit of time to work. So there's one more thing that I want to like really showcase here, that we are in a new era where up until very recently, in order for you to be successful as an application builder, that meant millions of users, right? It meant scale that you couldn't understand and VC capital and blah, blah, blibbity, blah, right? We are now in the phase, and this is interesting. Angela here in the Discord was saying lots of ideas, hard to find something. I think she was to focus on here. And there's so much room for boutique apps, small software, things that just serve 100 people, 1,000 people. Look at this here. Like $10 times 100 people is $1,000 a month. Who couldn't use an extra $1,000 a month? And once you figure out how to sell 10 people or a $10 thing to 100 people, I guarantee you can figure out how to sell a $25 thing to those people. And next thing you know, you're at $2,500 a month, right? And so you don't necessarily need a million scale business. $100 a month, if you can't find 100 businesses out there that need your service for 100 or 250, and let's cut this number in half. Like, let's take this to 50, and just say 50, and then double this number, you still get the same outcome, right? And I know this is one of those like, oh, just take this and double it and invest it in that and quadruple that and you'll be a billionaire. Like, that's not really the metric. But I'm just trying to show you that at pretty low scales, you can start making money that's impactful here, and you can now run software profitably at these scales. So here we go. Let's come back to here. All right, Manny. So now we've got the guts. Now we've got the guts laid out. Now let's get into how do they start shaping this into content marketing. Like, we've gone through that. We've kind of laid down our chunk. We've kind of described this. I probably need some more iterations on this, but like, let's now talk about our content doc, Manny. Now we've got our idea. Now we've got we've tested some things. We're exploring some canvases here. Maybe we pick one of these things and we have it create like, let's do this. Let me send a prompt and then we'll tinker a little bit.
Sounds good.
Okay, let's take our concept of a brag sheet and take the 3 iterations that we have on our canvas here, and let's put together a simple slide deck that shows me the marketing positioning for some of this. I want to show the highlights, that how many people have personal websites, how fast link in bio platforms are growing, things like Linktree, etc. And I would also like to think about how to replace a resume. So the whole concept here is a resume meets a Linktree, link in bio type thing, meets a personal website. And I would like to get a pitch deck so that I can start thinking about the early concepts. I want to see on the pitch deck things like the lean canvas, right? So I want to see the problems that we're trying to solve, which is specifically that websites are kind of hard to maintain. They're a little technical to set up, and they don't always have my most recent social stuff. They don't really have my most recent social stuff figured out here. And so I'd also like to see what the existing alternatives are. We also know there's WordPress and Webflow, but there's things like Linktree and LinkMe and link in bio sites, etc. And so then just give me an outline. Give me a pitch deck that follows the lean canvas model. My unique value proposition is that I've been building websites for a long time, and I'm a very technical vibe coder, and I have a lot of AI-driven software development. The high-level concept is, again, a website that's a little more social, that's a little more link in bio style, but fits the role of a website that I would be happy to put at my main URL. It allows me to blog, kind of think Substack meets Twitter meets link in bio type thing. And other than that, I want you to do a little bit of a market analysis on this industry, and I want you to, put this all together in a, let's say, 8-slide deck that covers everything we just talked about. Okay, so that's a crazy prompt. There's no, and we're just going to see. Oh, I didn't tell it to create a new artifact. Let's see how smart this thing is. Because we got it. Oh, and we got it. Okay, yeah. Let's see what happens. Let's just see what happens. We're gonna give that some time. What's coming in on the comments? I'm sorry, I pulled the mic away because I was talking to Whisperflow, and I forgot that like I'm on a live stream. So some people probably heard my mic get a little faint in the middle there. It was just me pulling away from the mic here.
Some folks are asking about like the basics of building with Agent 4, and we've got a couple of live streams on that we did last week and the last couple of weeks. So I encourage you to go check that out. We also have some great content on our Replit YouTube channel. But yeah, today we're talking about ideation, the basic mechanics in terms of how to navigate Agent 4. Check out the YouTube channel for that.
Yeah, and we are now up and running. We are now up and running. The site is all good. I see projects coming in here. Yeah, so it looks like we've identified the API culprit that was throttling. By the way, can we get a little shout out for like Replit and being able to build and fix something like this on the fly in the middle of the live stream while you're like literally talking to the crowd? Like, let's go try and break it again. Like literally everyone go log in, try to break this thing. But you can now register your project. So you'll come in and it will let you set up your project name. So I'm just going to set up a test here, description, and then let's just give it an image. I'm hoping the image works here. Let's see the image upload. Okay, image uploaded. There we go. There seems to be a little bug here. We'll fix that. There seems to be a little bug where the X icon's kind of pushing the image up, but it'll show up properly when it's supposed to. If I save and continue here, okay, great. So you're going to see now I have a project. If I go to the gallery, my project will be here, but it's still going to prompt me to, okay, there we go. So I'm not completely done with this, but you'll see I can now see the first checkpoint, right? I can see the first checkpoint. My profile is complete here. I can edit my profile if I want. I can go back to the gallery. I can see my project here. I can edit my project details if I want here. I can save that. And then I wouldn't submit your checkpoints just yet. Again, take your time. Don't be in a hurry to submit these checkpoints. But let's say you did submit a checkpoint. You can't edit them until the submission deadline. Even after the submission deadline, you'll be able to submit these. Again, they will just count as late and you won't be eligible for the weekly prize, but you will be eligible for the overall grand prize. So you still want to make sure that you submit all of the checkpoints, okay? Don't skip the checkpoints. Just a heads up. Page close automatically when I try to log in. Try refreshing the browser. Yeah, just try refreshing the browser. I just published a new update, and so try refreshing your browser if you have any issues with it. This is the buildathonhubs.replit.app. It should be pinned in the YouTube chat. Yeah, okay. Rules are all on the page. Go explore the rules. The About section. Okay, that's the About section. Okay, I think we're good on this. Let's come back over to the live stream slides, and let's see what the agent has been doing. Did I get new slides here? I did not get new slides. What happened? Did I get a new artifact? Create something new. Let's try it this way because I think I didn't give it. Okay. Dang, can I name my old prompt? Aha! It's so good, y'all. If you're not using Whisperflow, I don't know what to tell you because it's so good. Okay, this should be set up as a separate artifact in the project here. So what I'm basically going to have it do is it's going to do a research deck for me. It's going to do a research deck. It's going to put together slides for me. It's going to go do a little bit of, things I might do in another AI. I'm just going to do it here in Replit and see what we come up with. Look, let me read the rest of the slides. Let me zoom in here. Hello? There we go. All right, let me start by understanding the project structure. Okay, great, and the slide skills. So it's looking up the ability to make slides. Let me read the rest of the slide skills and check what the existing deck looks like for reference. Okay, so it's going to look at my existing deck for styling. That's okay. We don't really need that to happen, but that's all right. Let me do a market research on the link in bio and personal website space and then create the deck. Great, there we go, brag sheet pitch deck. So it started to create the deck for me. Great, I have a solid understanding of your brag sheet concept from the 3 iterations on the canvas. Now let me do some market research and create the new slide deck artifact. So now the agent's just telling me that, hey, it's going to build this deck for me. And if we look here, it's just kind of dump it in a place because it probably doesn't have a good knowledge of I put all this other stuff in its way. So I'm just going to move this over here. And this is one of the coolest things about Replit Agent 4 is that now you have these canvas artifact where I can switch between these different projects. If there was a web app inside of here, that would happen inside of here as well. So again, you saw it start to build versions of this. So I could now ask this to turn one of these into a real thing. I could maybe ask this to update the design of one of these. Do we like one of these, Manny, more than the others?
And this is for the brag sheets,
the brag
right?
sheet, yeah. I kind of like this.
And this would be more of the, I guess, what people would see when they set it up, right?
Yeah, that's so I would have to think about, correct. I'd probably want to talk to the agent when I'm building this about this being a multi-tenant thing. And then I have to think about, do I want people to have their own hosted URL? That becomes a whole different thing, right? That may not be something I could ship during this thing, but the MVP of that would be can I build Rymar, a version of a brag sheet that then other people could remix or that they could clone or that then could evolve into something where, Manny, you could come and also get a brag sheet.
Right, right.
So that's what I would think about in this process here. It's like, okay, where do I actually want to start? And that's actually a really good question, because that is going to lead you to think like, what type of authentication do I need? What type of user roles do I want on this site? Right? Because if I'm going to build this site and it's just for me, well, then I just need to log in. Nobody else needs to log in. And then I probably don't need like an admin or a super admin or different type of role permissions for people in the application. Right? And so this is one of those moments where you probably need to think like, oh, I want this type of user, this type of user, this type of user, and that's going to require X. If you think about that early, it becomes easy to build that. If you build a bunch of stuff and then 3 months down the road, you're like, oh my God, now we need to use user permissions, and each one of these features needs an auth check to figure out if somebody's an admin or a user or what their permission is. Now the agent could get really confused having to go back and apply those changes to all these different things. Whereas had you known that at the beginning, the agent would have built all those things in place as you go. So again, this is why having that thorough discussion, thinking through, using the plan mode, spending as much time as you can going back and forth with the agent to figure out exactly what you want. And especially now that you can kind of organize tasks and build out different like parallel agents working in the background, this is, this is really what's going to set you apart in the vibe code space. If you are looking at the whole industry right now, hold up, I want to go to this because I might want to. Ooh, not that one. I want this one. If you're looking at the whole industry right now, everybody in the vibe code space is telling you, we can build this, we can build that, we can build all the whatever. What separates this next phase of what's happening is going to be the ability to build more than just that little landing page, more than just a tinkery prototype. And what Replit gives you the ability to do is to build commercial grade, production ready software that you can take to market. And so the better you get at understanding how to like break these ideas down into chunks that allow you to build your foundation, then your base layers, your APIs and your authentication and kind of like that back end, and then start worrying about the design and the front end, then you'll see how much better you get at all of this. And I think that's what I would implore anybody who's out there. Like, that's the intimidating part. Somebody said earlier, like, this feels like it's for technical people and who already know how to do this stuff. And it's like, it can feel like that because there's so much to learn about this process. But you don't need to learn all of the technical stuff. We've talked about this before. You need to learn the language, right? You need to learn how to speak to these things and how to be resilient when it comes to troubleshooting. Because as you figure that stuff out, a tool like Replit will become your technical sidekick. And as long as you get good enough at talking with it and articulating what you want, you will get a great outcome from this thing. Now, are you going to build like the next, Facebook on it? I don't know, right? That's up to you to decide. But I bet in 2 years, there will be scale applications that started inside of Replit or other vibe code products that are now doing numbers, like real numbers. And so this is your opportunity. We talk about it all the time. Vibe coding is like the skill to learn. But yeah, I'm gonna get off the soapbox now.
No, and I think for me, like you want to stay with your project and you want to manage your emotions. And so breaking it up into digestible chunks helps that. So if you can spend an hour and you have like a checkpoint and you feel like you get to a good spot, and you feel like you've accomplished something. Okay, cool. You get a little bit of a dopamine hit. Now you're ready to move on to the next thing. So, for me, I'm always trying to manage my emotions to make sure that I'm able to stay with a project because it's all about staying with something long-term and dealing with those ups and downs to get the project out the door.
That's such a good thing to say, because like so many people are in this moment where it's like, look at this demo, look at this thing. And that's what I said, like every one of these companies is now claiming the same thing. It doesn't matter if they're a Replit, they've been around for 10 years, they're doing gangbusters in sales, they're penetrating enterprise like nobody else in the market, or if it's just the vibe code app that like launched 6 months ago, 2 months ago, 2 weeks ago, and they just got a bunch of advertising dollars because the VCs are trying to buy the market share to be competitive. They're all trying to say the same thing, right? And so Replit launches a new feature, and then all of a sudden, all these other platforms have these features, or they start talking about these features. And so the differentiator is exactly what you're saying, Manny. It's like, get past the landing page, push these platforms to the limit. The reason this is going to be so cool is you're going to see people build over the course of the next 3 weeks products that just are not possible in any other vibe code platform. Like, that's our goal here, is to find and showcase folks who build things over the next 3 weeks that just would not be possible with most vibe code platforms, and hopefully sprinkle a little bit of excitement and marketing and distribution from our side onto you, as well as a bunch of credits so you can keep building. Let's go back to the game because we have a slide deck. And I haven't touched this. I'm just going to go full screen on this thing, and I'm going to present, and we're going to see what this thing came up with, right? You saw the prompt I gave it. Let's go back for a second. You saw the prompt I gave it. Where'd it go? Hey, where's my prompt? Okay, it's not going to show me my prompt. Interesting. All right. Well, anyway, y'all heard the prompt. Go back and roll the tape. Okay, so brag sheet it came up with. I kind of like the branding. Kind of okay. Substack meets Linktree. 71% websites are too technical. Of small business users, builders like WordPress and Wix, but individuals rely mainly on a personal site. Too many tools, too much upkeep. Okay. 5+ platforms to manage: Twitter, Substack, your portfolio, your resume, your identity is scattered across disconnected tools that never stay in sync. All right. Resumes are dead documents. A PDF can't show your latest blog post, your GitHub activity, or your social proof. It's outdated. Okay, great. Link in bio tools, 1.6 billion. So it's showing me the market cap here. Website builders, 2.8 billion. All right. The gap, link in bio tools are too simple. Website builders are too complex. Nobody owns the middle. There we go. That's what I'm talking about. I'm about to invest in this product, y'all. Key stats: 50 million Linktree users alone, 62 million competing platforms in the space. Okay, 62. That's not crazy number. Less than 1% of the internet users have a personal site. Great. Okay. Everyone solves a piece. Nobody solves it all. Great. Link in bio. It's telling me comparison, the different problems here, what it's missing. Again, this is one of those things where it's like, how long would it have taken you to do this research, put a deck together? Now, maybe you don't love this. Maybe you want to go and verify all this data. Maybe you want to take this now and slide by slide, feed it to another AI and say, hey, what are we missing? And then you bring that data back and you give it to the Replit agent, be like, hey, tighten this up with this. Or maybe you want to style this a little quicker, or maybe you want to like change the positioning statement, right? Maybe you want to tighten this up. And so now you just, again, iterate, ask the agent again, boom. One URL for your entire identity, link hub, social blog, your domain, living resume. I like this. And there's the unfair advantage. So here's your, here's your lean canvas. Anyone could just jump in and have a lean canvas. And then let me do this. Let's do this. If I look on the canvas, they're not on there. So let me ask this. Can we put all these slides on the canvas, please, so that I can look at them one-on-one? And again, you can just talk to the agent. One of the things we like to show you during these live streams is that we just talk to the agent, right? Like, I don't have any special skills other than my technical background in building websites and doing no-code automation. So I'm not a software developer. I'm not a full stack anything. I'm a creative generalist who learned how to design. I'm a design school dropout, got lost in the world of sales for a little bit, and then I started building websites, and that led to a freelance career that's led me to here now. One of the reasons I got into community work was basically because I started learning all these skills, and I realized how important these skills can be for folks who want to like change their career trajectory, their life trajectory, change their status in life. Because when I first started doing this stuff, I had $0 to my name. And over the years, you learn skills, and then eventually you find your opportunities. And one of the best ways that I found to do that is to become obsessed with some kind of tool, some kind of problem, some kind of thing that I want to like see in the world and figure out how to bring that to life. I start making cool stuff. I start sharing that with people. Next thing you know, that leads to opportunities. It's exactly how I got to be in this seat. I started building with Replit a year and a half ago. Over the course of time, people start seeing what you're building, and then they're like, hey, want to come show some people how to build. So all I'm saying is, if you're out there and you think this path is not for you, I'm just you a few years into the future, right? Like, you have to decide today whether you're going to make the investment in your time, right? Because it's a big thing to separate some time to get into Replit versus go play with the homies or turn on the video game or go to the bar or whatever it else is that you do, play pickleball, right? Like, whatever else is that you do has demands for your time. If you want to be good at this, you also need to dedicate some time, and you will learn those skills. And Replit's one of the best ways to learn because you can ask the agent, you can talk to the agent, and like really it becomes your personalized coach in addition to like your co-pilot, your design pilot. Also, okay, it says it's on the canvas, but I don't see them. Where they at? Where they at? Where'd you put him? Let me do this. Any cool comments coming in or any thoughts on that, Manny? I know you talk a lot too about.
Yeah, I mean, I think both me and you have a similar background in terms of how we ended up here at Replit, just tinkering with Replit, sharing, building in public, like learning something, sharing it, posting about it, and getting people excited about it. So definitely echo that. A couple thoughts on the project, Rymar. Well, here's what's coming to mind. You tell me where you think this fits in, but when I look at Bracksheet, you got the investor deck, and the first kind of landing page that we got, I guess that would be more like the end product that somebody would get after they sign up for your service, right? And so I guess two questions. Like, one is, how would somebody build out that service for themselves? Do you envision them having like some sort of no code or low code setup where they can drag and drop and connect things? So like, what's like the build interaction look like, or are you thinking about that right now, or should we not think about that right now? And then
Um,
to the
yep.
landing page, like how would somebody like even like start the process, or like start like using your product and service? Like, how would you think about that? Would you start thinking about that now, or is that later for you?
Yeah, we got 20, 30 minutes to show exactly that, y'all.
Because there's almost like three different components, right? Like artifacts that I would be thinking about, like putting on the board, like, okay, I have to get like the end product that someone's going to get. And then two is like, well, how are they going to build that end product? And three, how am I going to get them to commit to my platform and actually start using it? I feel like there's three different assets there.
Yeah, sorry, it's telling me I'm seeing these things on the canvas, but I don't see them on the canvas. Let me check the canvas state to see what happens with those shapes. They may need to refresh the canvas. Ah, I was scrolling to the wrong place. This is something that will happen when you're like in one of these canvases and you start just throwing stuff. Sometimes you're like, where's my stuff? There's this little center content item here, but then sometimes things might just get thrown up in the mix. So it did do what I asked it for. I just didn't see where it put it. So now I'm going to bring these over here. And now, Manny, like you said, I might come into these and I might think, okay, this looks like this could be a landing page for a brag sheet, and I could see some kind of icon or logo on the right. All right, cool. I probably wouldn't start building a landing page for this. That's not important to me in the early phase. What I would probably do is I would go down to these things and I would think about what you said, right? Like, how do people get content into this? What is the experience of people uploading content to this? Is this like a button? Is this social? Can I share content with other people? Like this blog, are people blogging in this platform? Like, how am I connecting social? So I would start thinking now, once I get these these things together, I would start thinking, okay, I probably would go with this version is the one I'm liking the most. I do like a feed, but everything's kind of in a feed. Something about the masonry thing feels a little bit more chunky to me. And I like how I have these filters here. So what I'd probably start thinking, okay, so let me open a new chat. Let me close this. Oh no, I want to grab that. So what I'm doing is I'm selecting that item on the canvas here. If you're watching and you see these little blue, like the edges kind of show up. And this is cool because you can see that it's not just a slide. It is packaged, but this is a test UI here. This is the full front end. I could ask it for other things. So I like the design item A, which is a split profile view. However, this feels like just the end user's bio, and I'm wondering if we need to think about this as more of a multi-tenant solution where lots of people can come build their brag sheets on the same backbone. So maybe what we need to do is have a basic landing page experience that shows off the top, let's say, profiles across our network, but then let someone click to create a profile. And then we need to come up with a workflow for how the user will fill in all their profile details, as well as add new content to their brag sheet. Can you design me a onboarding workflow that represents the landing page, not just the auth page, right? Like our splash page where they're going to land and create their account that shows top users, maybe on a feed on the left-hand side, where the user's profile is now. And then on the right, we can have the auth screen. And then when the user logs in, we should have some kind of workflow for them filling out their sidebar as well as their project details. So let's go ahead and build out that workflow maybe 3 or 4 screens that show the different stages of that workflow based on the A split view design on our canvas that I've highlighted here. Okay. So again, the only thing you see in my prompts is that I'm thorough and I'm repetitive. There is a, I don't know if this is like official or not, or if this is like I can't prove this, but I do know that when I'm repetitive in my prompts, I get better output from the agent. And the other day I read this article and it talked about how LLMs read from top to bottom as they bring in the context. So whatever's at the top of your prompt gets kind of an inordinate amount of priority because it's the first thing the LLM reads. And then as it goes down, it diminishes the amount of context and structure because it's already starting to frame what it thinks the response is based on what it's got in the order it's getting it. And so if you introduce your prompt again, or if you are repetitive, lower in the prompt, it starts to then understand how these things fit into themselves. And I think you get a better output. I can't prove it. I think it's purely anecdotal for me right now, but I am saying that I have found when I dumb down my prompts and repeat them a little bit, I get better results from the agent. So for whatever that's worth, if you're looking for optimization tips, if you've experienced that, let us know in the comments. Like, I would love to know if that's just like me making stuff up. But if you've heard or read or seen anything about that, I would be interested to hear from you. Here it is right here. There's a paper. If you could find that paper, I would love to have that paper. I feel like I read it and then I lost it and I just, you know, it's like, where did it go? So yeah, that would be, I would love to have that paper because I know anecdotally I was like feeling that. And then I read that paper and I was like, but then I didn't save it. So if anybody has that, I would love to hear that. Let's see. Paper is awesome. Christian makes sense. So I feel like we're not really hanging with the crowd. Y'all are out there, you know, giving it to us, and I'm not seeing any of it. What is there? A new Buildathon? Yes, there is a new Buildathon. If you're watching us now, the Buildathon site is live over at buildathons.replit.app. You don't need the agent for. You'll end up there. You can log in on the site now. I won't log in there. I'll log in over here because let's see. Is it still loading for folks? Did we fix it or no? Have there been any more complaints? I think it should have been.
I thought I saw some complaints, like maybe
it could have been that they just hadn't refreshed the page yet, you know?
I'm getting issues too, so I think we're still having some problems.
Yeah, it looks like a bunch of people are getting in. So I'm wondering what might be the limit here. So it does look like we've got a lot of people figuring out their ads and solutions here. So again, just let us know in the comments. We will look through these. I will personally be looking through every single one of these comments. So if there's something that happened on the site or something that you're not, that's not working on right now, okay, project not found. That's interesting. So the project ID, it's probably because they're not all public yet because there's no checkpoints.
And you have to log in. I think it logged you out. Me too.
It logged me out because there's a new publish. That's right. Yeah, that's the other thing. If anytime there's a new publish, sometimes it logs you out. So if you ever have any problems, just make sure you refresh and log back in. Because what happens is sometimes the user sessions get dumped when you push a new update.
Yeah, some folks are saying not loading in the comments.
Not loading. Like now?
Yeah.
Not loading. Yeah, just give it a sec. It's not lightning fast. I see an SSL issue with the Buildathon website. Interesting. Yeah, it's refreshing again. Okay, there's definitely some bugs that we'll figure out over the next day on this Buildathon site. But back to what we were building. Let's see. Okay, so here we go. Oh, hey, I like it already. I'm liking this already. Brag sheet. Trending creators on the left. Okay, great. Manny, this solves some of what you were talking about, where it's like, this is the landing onboarding experience. Explore profiles. Okay, great. Featured on brag sheet. Perfect. Nice little onboarding flow. They just write in the front. They're going to get their options to set their stuff up. Little form to onboard. Show off your best work. Okay. All right. We might want these tags or categories to be specific to the user, or we might want to like normalize some of these. So now it's helping me think through some stuff that I maybe hadn't thought about. right? Like, do we want categories that we define, right? Project, achievement, blog post, or do we want the user themselves to create their own categories here, right? So maybe they can pick what they want these things to be, or maybe we have some buckets, you know, some tags that allows all the projects to kind of come and pull in together. So there you go. Brag sheet is live. People could copy. This is great. I would feel really comfortable telling the agent to build the V1 of this right now. Let's do this. I'm going to highlight all these elements. And I'm going to go to the agent prompt. I'm saying, okay, this is great. I really like this whole onboarding flow, sequence, everything. Let's turn this into a proper functioning web application. What I'd like to make sure we do is I'm just going to leave it at that. Let's just leave it at that. Let's not complicate it. Let's just show you that you don't need a lot. Let's just leave it at this and see what we get. Try to keep things specific to the design that you have here. I really like the onboarding flow. Everything feels great about this. Let's build it. Okay, so we're just going to send it. Let's see. It is currently 1:46 p.m. Eastern time. We'll see how long this takes and what we get, and then we'll show you how much it costs. Let's go. I was just going to show up and see how much did this cost. 866. Did I have it on like turbo? Oh, I have it on turbo. Don't do that, y'all. I had it on turbo before the show, trying to like speed some things up. Don't do that unless you're ready to spend some real dollars. Don't put turbo on. Turbo, you're basically buying time back. So the agent moves faster. It is powerful, but you will burn through some credits, and it is not something you should do unless you're ready to see some big chunky, you know, checkpoints like that. Rymar, can you show how to use different clickable parts of your canvas, artifacts, what they're for, what they do, etc.? Okay, great. Yeah, absolutely. Let's do that while the agent's working. So if you're watching, we're in our canvas here, okay? Let me shrink the sidebar down just a bit. We were in our canvas, now we're in our preview. The canvas and preview are kind of one and the same. So to find your preview, everything lives in the top of your apps here. So I would come to the top, I would create a new app, and the preview will almost always be at the top. So I'll go ahead and click preview. And it's going to default me to my first presentation, right? And so what you'll see here is I have a drop down that allows me to pick between the different decks or artifacts or whatever it is. And now you'll see there's a brag sheet, there's a mobile app, or there's a web app that's being created here. So because we just told it to start building, now in our artifacts, we don't just have the agent for Buildathon slides. We don't just have the brag sheet pitch deck. We also now have a brag sheet website. And again, if I'm on the canvas, I can see all those elements here. And again, sometimes it just throws stuff over top of things that like you've drawn on there. I don't think it's aware of all the things you've drawn, but that will get better over time. But you can just now jump back and forth between these different projects, between the web app, between the brag sheet. Okay, the web app's not ready yet. There's another place you can access this too over on the right side here. You have this library toggle. So you have the library. You can get to your file tree. If you still want to get into the code, you can go there. Or again, just like you can see up here, you can see all of the different artifacts available to this project. You could see your mobile apps in here. You would see animations. You would see, again, the slide decks, just like you're seeing. You could ask for a spreadsheet. You could talk to any of your data connectors. And then all of that just basically gets thrown onto this canvas whenever you want, right? So here you see all of my slides. Here you see all of my thinking. It's a little chaotic, you know, no big deal. Here's my different artifacts. And you can kind of tell what's what based on the color here. So this purple color is my artifacts. These are the projects that I can go full into a preview. I can actually enter that product. If I go out and I'm on one of these other colors, right? If I click here, I can preview that, but it's not going to go all the way in, right? And from here, I can then have some basic prompts. So like, I want to try different layouts of this, or I want to optimize this for usability, whatever. Let's say I wanted to build this thing and turn it into something real. I could do that by clicking build. Inspect allows me to kind of come in here and select the different elements. And then just like I have my other style editor on the right side, I can move around these elements because it's all designed in code. You know, and so this is just one of the cool things about. So like, let's say I wanted to update some of the text here. I could just kind of dive in, update the text. This is an updated text. And then I could save those changes and it will save. Right, it will save right here in the project. And so this is a really cool new way to navigate with your project, to explore all the different elements of what you're building. It can get a little chaotic sometimes, so I come in here and clean things up. I typically don't do all of this thinking inside of the Replit canvas. I did it today just to kind of showcase and bring it in as context immediately, but I often don't do this level of exploration. What I'll do in the canvas here is I'll take screenshots and I'll mark things up. So let's say I wanted to come in here and I wanted to say, you know, like this thing here, you know, and I wanted to bring a screenshot in from somewhere else. I'm just going to grab a random screenshot, but I might want to bring a random screenshot in and say, and I might want to say here, and I might then add text. And I'm using sheet shortcuts for this, but T is for text, A is for arrow, V is for, you know, I don't know, I'm learning the shortcuts. So make this more like this. You know, so I could take an arrow and I could draw make this more like this. And then I would take a screenshot of this and maybe send that to the agent, or even right here, I could click on this, I could click on all of this and give it a prompt, you know, and just add a prompt here. I send it, it's going to start working on that stuff again with the visual context. This is super cool if you want to get nuanced on design, or like, let's say I want to only edit this sidebar. So I pull the sidebar out into the canvas, I can draw some notes on top of that, and then I pass that back into the Replit agent, and it's having all of the context of the project plus my notes all in one scoop there. Very cool. I hope that answered the questions and thoughts.
Yes. As we close, remember, there's a couple of questions in the pinned comments you might want to address. Maybe you want to go back to the timeline and talk about what's up this week.
Yep.
Some questions around like, all right, so the checkpoints on Thursday, do people have to be decided on their project by Thursday? And is that the project that they're going to have for the remainder of the Build-a-thon? That's one question that I'm seeing. And then also, do we have to make that project visible? Does that have to be a public project for folks?
The project in Replit does not have to be public in the context that somebody can remix it. It has to be public in the context that we need to be able to go see it, right? So you need to publish that application and have some kind of public URL that we can go see. And then you're going to share your internal Replit URL with us so that we can go and check that project also. You don't need to immediately submit this project. So it looks like I'm going to have to set some limits on the number of tags. That's okay. So we'll tighten that up so that'll be expandable after the show. But I can see a lot of people are already starting to throw their ideas into here, and this is great. The goal of the Build-a-thon is that your idea is going to evolve over time. So at the end of this project, it doesn't have to be that you built exactly what you set out to build on day one. I think the people who win, or the people who are successful in this Build-a-thon, will likely pivot multiple times throughout the project. And what I mean by that is you should have an idea today that you think is interesting, that you want to build, that's useful for, you know, whatever. But then once you start asking people and taking it to market, you will get feedback about, oh, this is good, this is bad, I needed to do this, I'm not that. And those things will then be stuff you need to like pivot on, right? And you need to make decisions. And so I could imagine somebody sets out, like even me with the brag sheet, right? Like who knows what that's going to evolve into as I build over the next couple weeks. It could be something simple. It could turn into a whole like social, like resume sharing tool, like I don't know, right? Job search network type thing. I don't know where it's going to evolve. All I know is I have a problem. I want to start tinkering with potential solutions. I'm in Replit now, exploring what those solutions might look like, and then trying to figure out how do I turn that into a real application. And so now I can go in here and I can see that I already have like the apps built, right? So, you know, like today we spent probably only about an hour because we took the first hour, 45 minutes or 30, 45 minutes talking about Build-a-thon stuff to take you through the idea of like breaking a concept down, what we thought about. Maybe it's not exactly perfect how we got here, but it's a little bit rough, the creative process to kind of think through. You saw us create the slide deck that goes along with this. And then this slide deck became some visual UI elements, right? So we started then asking it to give us designs for what this could look like. And that's what this top row is. And then we said, hey, we like this top row. Show me the onboarding workflow and sequence for what somebody would look like if they got this. And now we have a rudimentary web application that if I go here, let me see if I create my brag sheet and let me see what happens when I log in. Let's see what I got on the prompt. So we'll go ahead and get started. Okay, great. My name. Okay. Oh, this is great. Yep. And so let's see. Click to generate a photo profile. Oh, it just generated one. We'll base the one on your name. Okay, that's interesting that it did that. That's fun. I just want that to be a regular file upload, but we'll fix that. And then my one pass is just having an epileptic seizure on my screen, so it just doesn't know what form field to fit into. So sorry about that. Twitter. Hey, I stole this from you, Manny, the other day. Thanks for the inspo.
Bam.
Okay, continue to next step. All right. Oh, hey, look, portfolio, blog, LinkedIn, add project. This is project 1. Description. I don't know. I'm just not gonna spell it right. Cover image. Okay, so I probably need to do some image upload. That's probably why I just generated the image. So it just did like a random cover image for me. Tech stack. Okay. Let's see. What happens if? Oh, Replit. Come on now. Ain't no Replit. Replit. Oh, come on. Replit. There we go. AI agent 4. Just throw some stuff. External link. What happens here if we put a link? Okay. Now we'll save this item. Boom. Show off your business. Add content. Where's my next step? Oh, continue to preview. There it is. So I'm going to copy this link. View my profile. That's not the right URL. It's saying brag sheet, step 1. My one pass is still going nuts. Okay, there it is. But here we go. I mean, this is an MVP. This is something that I'd probably spend a little bit of time thinking through this thing. But seriously, like we got, hello, mate. What happened? The Replit project just did a thing. Oh, it's still trying to load something in the background. I think something about that click screwed me up. Here we go. This is why it's often good to test this stuff in an open browser here. So we'll just pop out of here. Rymar's now in here. Great. So yeah, I mean, it's not perfect, but is this something that you could go and share with somebody? Right? And again, the usage will not be accurate because I had this on turbo mode. So this is going to be pricey, I think. Yeah. Don't do that. Don't do price. It's literally 5 or 6 times more. I bet this would be $3 or $4 had I not had turbo on. That was my mistake. Yeah. So, I mean, this is it. What I'd like to see everyone do for step 1 of Buildathon, right, is just go in and give us some kind of idea for what you think you want to build, right? Like start, let's open this up. Fill out your project details. The first checkpoint on Thursday is basically a little video of the idea you think you're going to take to market. We want to know what you're thinking about. What was your process up to this point? What did you explore? Show us your canvas. Show us your early artifacts. Show us the things you tinkered with. That's going to be your submission, right? We want to hear your pitch for what you're going to do over the next, 3 weeks. So what we're judging for on Thursday, right? Those submissions are due by noon on Thursday. We'll tighten up the site. We'll fix up a couple of the glitches that we had. But by Thursday, these submissions need to be in. Again, you can make them late, but if you want to qualify for the weekly prizes, you'll need to make your submission by Thursday at 12 p.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific time. Once those goes in, then you're off to the races. Next Tuesday, we're going to kind of talk about building. So what I'll probably do is I will probably start to tinker on some of this that I've built, but next week we'll kind of go through and think about what we can build. Maybe I'll actually wait till next week and build on the same project, but start a new project. I don't know what we'll do. But next week we're going to build. We're going to build and turn this thing into something that we can take to market. So tomorrow we'll be in the Discord. If you want help bringing your creative idea to life, thinking through what to actually build, thinking how to process your submission. If you have additional questions, jump in the Discord. Next week, we'll be doing the live stream. Friday, we'll be showcasing everything you build this week. So again, make sure you get those submissions by Thursday so that we have a full day to help with distribution, to make sure the audience gets a chance to vote, to make sure all the judges can go in there and see everything you're doing so that we can try to promote the best work on Friday. Some of the videos that you all submit will be shown on the Friday stream. So if you submit a cool YouTube video or a LinkedIn post or a post on X that kind of outlines what it is that you're trying to build, we may or may not showcase that on the Friday stream. That will be part of your submission process. So,
Raimar, sorry,
yeah,
I gotta hop
any
in.
other questions?
No, I gotta hop in a moment, dude.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But just no, thank you, Raimar. Thanks
Do
for
I gotta
walking us
hop in a
through this.
moment?
I don't think no. I don't think. I think you can stay on, dude. I just want to let you know in case
You
I
gotta
went
drop.
like here. Yeah, dude. But thank you, everybody. See you on Friday, and can't wait to see all the checkpoints you guys submit on Thursday. Thank you, Raimar.
All right, bye everyone. Okay, I think we got just a couple more minutes, and we'll go ahead and wrap this down. Let me see if there's any other comments come in. Oh, about the comments. Yes, you pay for the credits of the Buildathon. This is not. We're not sponsoring the usage. However, just like we did for the mobile Buildathon, we will find lots of opportunities to share credits with folks. If anybody's still waiting on credits, those should all be paid as of today. So any outstanding Buildathon credits, there was an issue with the credit system where we were issuing duplicates, so we couldn't actually issue those big credits last week. So hopefully all that stuff's handled. If you were in the Buildathon, those payments should be made in your credits dashboard. And we will do other things throughout this competition, especially for those hanging in Discord, especially with those who are being very active on social, those people who are engaged and really helping take this Buildathon to the next level. We will be looking to reward you all with credits. If you're just here for free credits and you're just here to like do the minimum effort, I'm not sure what to tell you, right? Like this Buildathon is intended to inspire the folks who are active creators and really building kind of like the next level stuff inside of Replit. And that's who we want to figure out how to showcase and shine our resources on top of. So we'll leave it at that. Let's see. Reimar's getting an error that says I can't deploy unless I have a pro account. Can't deploy where? Can you tell me where you're trying to deploy? I'm not sure what you're talking about. Is that on the Buildathon website, or is that in the back end? Let me go. There we are. Let me go to this view here. Let me pull this over and let's just spend some time on the questions real quick. Reimar, seriously, this first checkpoint will be tough for a regular starter. I don't know what that means. All you have to do is outline an idea and make a video about it. There's really not that much to do here. You just have to outline your idea, think through what you'd like to do, and yeah, share that with us in the forum on the Discord, or I'm sorry, in the Builder Hub. Let's see. I'll make you proud. There we go. That's what I want to see. Make me proud. Investment opportunities after the hackathon. Let's go. Hey, if somebody builds something amazing here, I promise we will find ways to get this into lots of visibility. Like we will make sure that the standout submissions here get noticed. This is your opportunity to break in. People from the Replit team internally will be looking and judging these. One of the cool moments that happened during the mobile Buildathon was that folks like watching Amjad kind of review people's mobile apps was super cool and fun. And so you never know who's going to see the projects that you all submit here and what that's going to do. Again, this is why we're looking for really high quality stuff, things that feel premium, things that push the agent forward to the edge. Yeah, like we're going to be looking for all that stuff. Let's get to work. Let's go. It's meant for people who have money. It is meant for people who are going to use Replit, and there are creative ways to use other AIs. Again, we're going to be checking to see how much of that is in Replit versus outside of there. But yeah, excellent stream. Thank you. Yes, great. Invest in yourself, y'all. If this is it, this is it. Invest in yourself. If you would spend $300 on a TV or $50 on a night out, $100 on a night out for dinner, this is exactly it. Yeah. invest in yourself. You never know where this might get you. Let's see. I completed a project, tried to push, and got the message I'm getting an error that says I can't deploy unless I have a pro account. There are no restrictions for the types of accounts, so I'm not sure what you're talking about. You need to be specific here. Are you talking about in Replit or on the Buildathon hub or where? And you can send me a DM if you're in the Discord or something, but this doesn't sound right to me. Okay, let's see what else we can do here. Thanks for giving us the precious info for sure. If there's any questions, again, Discord tomorrow. We have an office hour starting, I think it's 1 p.m. Eastern in Discord. We'll try to take the best questions and the questions that we missed out of these chats and put those in the FAQ on the website. So we'll try to take everything that we might have missed or everything that we didn't cover clearly and put it onto the Buildathon website. I will spend the rest of my afternoon today making sure we figure out all the kinks for whatever happened on the site today with those API errors. And hopefully this will be smooth sailing through the submission process Thursday, and we'll go from there. So let's see. I'm active, serious builder. Last Buildathon got stuck with art assets being too difficult to generate within Replit. Enable for a mobile game. Is Agent 4 better at this type of work? Some of those internal assets, and I check with like folks like Ruth, some of those were created outside and brought into Replit. I know Replit does some stuff with image generation and assets, but I know it's mostly tuned for like web assets and different things. If you want some more creative like game pixels or specific like game styled stuff, that's something that I would try on a different platform. Let's see. Oh, you know what? Great, office hours. I didn't show y'all this. You guys are going to get a treat for being the last people on the stream here. I have made some serious updates to this Replitopolis app, and we're going to send out another thing. Let's see if this crashes the game. I'm going to put this in the chat, Replitopolis. And then go check this thing out. So here's what we did. Let me go to screen share. This is going to be fun. Okay, screen share. If you weren't around last week, we built this city, or I showed you how I built this city. I have been building this city for longer than just last week. But this city represents Replit users. Each building is a user on the network. These are the top 300 users across the platform. One of the cool things that I added here is you can now log in with Replit. And when you're logged in, you can come and view your village. And what's cool, I don't know if you're going to hear this, but there's a little ambient sound here. I don't know if that's going to come through for you all, but here's my village. These are all my Replit projects that I've been working on. You can come see your different projects, some basic stats as you hover over them, how many checkpoints, how many days active you've been on that specific project, different prompts you've sent. Again, remember these stats are not in real time. There's a little bit of a delay here, but then there's something else that's super cool that I want to show. And this you maybe heard me tease. Let me turn off. Oh yeah, you heard me tease the other day, but you can now drive inside the city. And this has been a lot of fun to build. And let's see if you know what, let me turn this music off just in case it's recording or copyrighted. It's pulling from YouTube, so it's just like a YouTube playlist down there. But yeah, now you can drive around the city. I think soon I'm going to let people get out of the car and explore, because these are the buildings that people are building. So these are all your projects. We're literally driving around the city in real time. Like these are the different projects here. Let me see if I find a short one. Okay. So if I find a short one and I hover, look, Sergio, 293 checkpoints. So I don't know how this is going to work out, but soon this city is going to become a very interesting place for this community to come hang out. I'm thinking like it would be cool to have like a daily bugle starts type thing, like a Replit Tribune or something in here where people can come, and maybe it's like community submitted news or something. You'll see here in a second, I'm trying to get through the 1 minute, but there's a leaderboard. And so as you come in here and log in, and I wonder if other people will have already done this, boom. Okay, so some of you have already found this. So there's a leaderboard here, and I'm trying to talk Francisco into throwing some credits at the winners here. So this costs no credits to play. This is just a fun thing you can do. This will show you your live activity in Replit. and create your village. The village is shareable, by the way. So this URL is something you can share, you can screenshot, you can share with folks. And we're just going to keep playing with this city and what you can do inside of here. And I think this will be a lot of fun for, folks across the community. What I'm thinking is, like, imagine you all can submit things inside of here. And as you submit, maybe we pull them in as news articles. Maybe there's a newspaper or a radio station or something that's just sharing community updates on the fly inside of here. You can also come in and practice. So if you saw that at the top here, I'll show you one more time. So if you're in drive mode, and let's say you don't want to compete, you can just come over here to practice. You can see the leaderboard. So I can see some folks are trying to catch me right now. Will somebody catch me by the end of the stream is the question. The car is a little finicky to drive. It's got some serious wheel spin. So I've tried to make it a little tough, because when I was playing it first, it was like really easy to play. So anyway, this seems like a lot of fun. Where's my restream? Let's go ahead and stop my screen share. We'll come back here. Okay, where's the link for this? Who the heck? Yeah, major builder. Can't wait to have good address, the high rise. There we go. Where's the link for this? It's replitopolis.replit.app. I just shared it in the YouTube chat. It only shows my main Replit and not my team's one. Yep. That's yeah, so this is just going to pull back what it shows. This is not going to be perfect for everyone. But yeah, it's going to show whatever account you log in. That's the user ID it's going to send, and that's where we're going to pull the visuals from on this. Let's see. I have a free account. Had no trouble setting up for the Buildathon. Exactly. There we go. I think in pro, like, yeah, you might be thinking about publishing or doing certain things. I don't know what that comment was before, but let's see. Let's go, folks. Cheeky question. Can I submit a project I have already built Replit outside of the Buildathon? No, absolutely not. The projects must be created from scratch starting today. The link is in the chat here, replitopolis.replit.app, if you want to go check that out. That's just a sneak peek for you folks. There's also something else that's coming. I think I've teased this before. This is something that we're going to link to the Buildathon profiles. So again, if we go into the Build Hub and I log in here, give it a second, log in. Hello, we can do it. Okay. We're going to log in. Come on now, Replit off. You can do it. There we go. Redirecting now. Great. Okay, so if I go to my profile, you will not all see this yet. This will be rolling out to folks soon. But this links to this. And inside of here, we have a GitHub style commit graph that shows your usage over time. It shows some kind of semblance of a user score. So this is totally made up. Don't pay too much attention to this yet. This is literally just numbers out of the thin air, us trying to figure out like what makes sense. Your prompt volume. And then, yeah, so this is going to be some kind of proof of work type thing for Replit professionals. We're not really sure how this is going to go out, so we're going to roll this out slowly. You saw there were some issues with the Buildathon site, so we're going to tighten this thing up between Replitopolis and the Community Hub and all the different things that we're building here. We want to, like, over the next few weeks, really tighten this stuff up, and then we will. Oh shit! I wasn't screen sharing any of that, was I? What a ding dong. Let's go back here. Let's go back here. Let's go back here. So this is what I was showing before, is this community profile page. GitHub style commit graph, the ability to edit your profile, the ability to pick which projects you want to actually bring in from Replit on the back end and show off here. If you are an ambassador, you'll have a chance to kind of share your ambassador details for the extra perks that come with that. And soon there will be a directory and we'll be able to figure out how to do some of this. So between this and the Replitopolis stuff, the reason we're doing this is twofold. One is to understand how the community is kind of interacting with the product. Like, this is a big deal for us, even inside of here, not just us. Like, this thing is super useful for Replit employees. So if I come in here and I can toggle this and I just want to see, who's been using Replit internally. This is our it's a really cool way to just, and you'll probably never guess who, the big boy tower is over here, prepping for the Buildathon. I think put me over the top, but lots of prolific builders, Seiji, Nick, like all these folks are people that you will meet. Tanner will be joining us tomorrow for the office hours. And let's see, tomorrow office hours are at 9 a.m. I think moving forward, they're at 1 p.m. So just check the Discord for the times on all those. This is going to be stuff that I think makes this really exciting to get folks active in the community. And yeah, let us know what you think about all that. This has been super fun to build these things. Let's see. Let's build something awesome. Yes. Will there be any updates that will allow ChatGPT to help with a Replit app that was not initially generated in the ChatGPT connection? No, basically the ChatGPT connection essentially lets you start a Replit project. Once you bring it into Replit, you're kind of in Replit. Okay, right here. There you go. Yeah, you have to set your project up in the Agent 4 Buildathon page, not the Replit app. Correct. So you need to go to the, I'll go to my page here. You need to go to the Buildathon app. You'll go to your profile. And in here, you'll have the ability to set that app. I think it also might be these WebSockets is dragging it down because right now it's monitoring that there's 100 people on the site. But on your profile, you'll see your project link. And here's where you will set this project up. And you add your Replit URL here. You tell us what the external URL is here. You can add tags. You can add teammates. Your teammates will show up here as you go. And yeah, you'll want to make sure that's all done before you submit. All right, so let's see, put the project image. Let's see if it loads. There we go, it's loaded. I'll go ahead and save and continue. And what we'll see is my project details are complete here. Now I have a public URL, a Replit project. If I don't have the Replit project or the project URL or a tag, it would show me that my project details are not complete. And then I have my submission. So this is the first week submission. If you can't figure this out, then I'm not sure what to tell you. All you have to do is put a video on X, YouTube, LinkedIn, explaining your project, showcasing what you've built, how you're using the canvas, how you're building the tool, what you plan to accomplish over the course of this event, and then one sentence describing the problem you're trying to solve. We may add one more question in here. You can save a draft if you want, and then you'll be able to submit once your project's ready. But if your project's not fully committed here yet, if you don't have this URL or this public link or a tag, your submission will not be sent. Okay? So just to know, just to keep an eye on that. Let's see, what else are people saying? 6 p.m. here in the UK. Hi, Ruth. I built using Replit, but outside of this Buildathon. That's okay. It doesn't matter. You still need to start a new project for this Buildathon if you want to compete. What happens is we have people bringing in projects they've been working on for 6 months or a year or whatever, and that's not fair to somebody who's going to start today building this idea. So you can't, we're not allowing people to bring in old projects and put them into Replit. Am I in that city? I don't know. Go find out. Replitopolis.replit.app. How do we find out who the top users are? There's a scoreboard. There's a leaderboard on the side of it. There's a scoreboard on the side of the app. Replit, my village is tiny. Yeah. Well, you got to get to growing. Got to get to growing. I've been waiting for this. There you go. Wow. Replit City. There we go. This is Q Rymar. There you go. That's right. No income tax or sales tax in Replit City. That's right. That's right. Okay. Let's see. Not Replit GTA. We're going to get Replit GTA before you get GTA 6, actually. Replit verse. Yeah. Which are approved other platforms for UI and assets? You can use other platforms as you see fit. Just the majority of the work has to be done in Replit. So what we saw other people doing is they would build something completely like in a Claude Code, or they brought some GitHub project that was already existed months ago. They brought it into Replit and they passed that off and almost won the competition. And so we just had a lot of people trying to trick us. These are big prizes. We're giving away almost $60,000 in prizes. And so, yeah, we want to make sure that that doesn't happen. Let's see. Who the heck is small? I know some of these people. Listen, I know if you think I am not on the top 300 users in Replit, I am internally if we just look at Replit usage, but I think some of these folks are going like I don't know what they're doing. These must be like people, lots of other folks on their account. I can't imagine this is just a single. This is like a like just single users. I'm having issues putting the Replit URL in the project details. What Replit URL are you putting in there, right? It needs to be the actual project URL. So when you're inside of your REPL, it's that link that you're pulling in. Let's see. It would be cool to have an award for the country with the most participation. Yeah, we might do that. Dang, where did you get your driver's license? It's hard to drive. Go in there and try it. It's not easy. They'll cancel my driver's license after this. Correct. Can we change car color? Not yet, but I do have it set up to be able to switch between cars. So I might let people earn different cars based on their high score. I want to go see. Let's go back to this shot here. Let me just bring the screen share up. I don't want to be looking at my ugly face. Let's bring this screenshot up here. Let me move this over here. And let me do this. Let's go look at the leaderboard and see if anybody's beat my score. Can we build a C++ backend compiled locally and deployed on GitHub to Replit with Agent 4 handling the front end? I don't know. I don't know. It sounds like most of that work would not be done in Replit. So let's go to practice mode and leaderboard. Did somebody beat my score? Loading the leaderboard. Let's see what comes back. Oh, gosh. Simon killed it. Simon and Michael are running it. Oh, my goodness. 746. I knew somebody was going to come and just smoke me because I have zero game skills. I knew somebody who was like an actual game person is going to do that. We will fix this leaderboard so that only one person can have a high score here, but I don't know how to figure this out. If somebody's going to own the leaderboard, we'll have to think about that. But my high score is only 569 and I'm the creator. So anyway, let me know what y'all are thinking of that. We want Replit merchandising. Oh, maybe you could walk into a store inside of here. I don't see the link to Replitopolis. It is, let me do this and I'll pin it in the chat. Okay, let's do this. Let me put it here and then let me find the YouTube video, which should be somewhere over here. And then let me pin this. Oh. So many comments to catch up with. Hang on, let me get to the Fred. Let me get to the bottom of the comments here, and I will pin that last comment unless it gets bumped. Are these can't be coming in real time, right? Where is the? Oh gosh. Ah. All right, sorry. Are these really coming in at this speed? Replitopolis.replit.app. All right, Replit. Misspelling this. Riveting television as you guys watch me type into YouTube. Replitopolis. Oh, let me put the HTTPS in front of it. That's why I'm probably not seeing it. Replitopolis.replit.app. Okay, there it is. Replace pin message. Okay, now it's pinned at the top of the chat. And you can all go play to your heart's content. I want to see that. I want to see who's going to break 1,000. By the way, I am going to try to convince Francisco to let me pay out credits for this. So we will find fun ways during this event to reward people with credits who are not just top builders, who are not just spending a bunch of money inside of Replit. So again, go explore, go experiment, go tinker, go click around. Let's see. I'm confused about demo URL. Your demo URL is the public project URL, the page that the public should go see. So on your profile, you will want 2 links. One that will link into Replit that will give us access to go see the project you're building. And the other one is your public profile link, your public published link. That could be your web app, your mobile app, whatever. Maybe you want to build a website that showcases all the artifacts. Maybe you want to get real creative and start using other projects and blend this into that to get around some of the requirements. You didn't hear me say that, but get creative. You guys, like, literally just get creative. We shouldn't have to like drop hints about how to get creative. This is up to you to get creative here. Okay, we're not seeing the screen. I know, I'm sorry. I know I missed up there a little bit when I wasn't screen sharing. So many comments. Holy cow. Okay. Would that be the remix link? No, that is not the remix link. That's the internal URL for your project. So when I'm in a Replit project, let's see, go into the Replit, it's this one. The URL when you're in Replit, replit.com. Replit.com is your URL. The public URL would be this one. It would be the site that's actually public for the whole internet. So the Replit URL is literally Replit URL, and then public URL. Hopefully that clears it up. Rymar, you must be the accounting department's worst nightmare. Nah, they love me here. You know, I'm like pushing the boundaries. Like this is, and now all the people who thought they were like top dogs or, you know, like they got another kid on the block to worry about. And also, I'm not sure it was a really smart idea to give Rymar unlimited Replit credits. Let's all say a prayer for my sanity, okay? Let's see. I've seen here, created the app in the Buildathon, but I'm failing the intelligence test here. I've clicked on all the links and there's nothing that is opening the Replit agent. I'm sorry. I'm not sure how to help you with that question right now. If you're like me and have several browsers open to access Replitopolis, you need to make sure you're at the right browser. Yeah, you may not. Yeah. I don't know how that works if you're in multiple browsers. But yeah, let's see. I think I need permission before I tinker and build what I got planned. Yeah, you better go ask. You better go ask your wife or your husband or whoever it is out there. Yeah. All right. Okay. Can I get Replit credits to use Agent 4 on Buildathon Hub? No. We will be issuing credits along the competition, but we're not sponsoring usage for this. Can we deploy on a custom domain? Yes. That's the public link you would share. So it could be your hosted domain on Replit. It could be a public domain. It could be the link to your app in the App Store. It could be anything. As long as it's public and it's facing and it meets the requirements of the checkpoint. Remember, let me go through these rules and scoring criteria a little bit. I want to go through the scoring. Oh, let me go to this side. Scoring. I want to go through this again because it seems like each of the submissions will be scored against this rubric, right? Clarity of concept. How easy is it to understand what you are trying to do in this application? When I log in, when somebody that's a judge logs in to this project, how easy is it for them to understand what you're doing? Is the message clear? Is the graphics hit? Like, does this all make sense to me? Okay, you're going to get a high score. If not, you're probably going to get a little bit more of a lower score. Unclear messaging, generic concepts, not going to cut it, right? Clear messaging, unique and novel concepts, defined audience voice, you're going to get a much better score. Does the submission capture my attention or evoke emotion? Okay, low, generic designs, no images, no details, no defined brand voice or strategy. So if this is kind of like bland, haha, hoo-hoo, I vibe coded, this was my first prompt, okay, here we go. Probably not going to win any prizes, you know? High score, eye-catching designs, unique layouts, compelling brand voice. It feels premium. Something about this thing captures me. It connects with me. You know, like we saw Ruth do this last with the mobile Buildathon with her like ghost characters and the game, and it was just different. Like nobody expected this. Everyone was doing like to-do apps and productivity apps and other stuff, and she's like, I'm going to build a game. That stood out a lot, right? And so your job here is to figure out how to stand out. We're not telling you exactly what to build. We're telling you that it's your job to stand out if you want to like take the next step here. Functionality and features, again, can I use this? Is it easy for me to use? Is it obvious how I get through this? Is it functional? Does it break? Does it do like our Buildathon hub and stutter? Or have you taken the next 3 weeks to refine it, right? This Buildathon hub is a perfect example of how you can move fast. Get the base thing out there. Get people messing with it. Get people touching it. Now we got real feedback that we can go and fix these problems. I guarantee next week it's going to be smooth sailing. right? By Thursday, when you guys are making submissions, all the bugs are fixed. So that's the whole point here is tomorrow, we're going to work together. We're going to figure out this idea. By Thursday, we're going to go get feedback so that next week you can start really iterating and building something meaningful, right? Okay. Marketing and distribution. Again, Thursday, we talked about this, social traction, finding validation. People are growing on your wait list. Maybe you have a paying customer. All those things will be, high value points. Adherence to the checkpoint rules. So did you actually listen to what we asked you to do at each checkpoint? And did you take your time to do that, right? If we ask you for the problem you're going to solve and you're like, world peace, all right, cool, good for you. But if you're like, oh, I'm doing XYZ to approach this, that's going to reduce conflict in this, and this is how the app works, and you should check this out. I'm really excited, blah, blah. Now we're talking. That's a high effort submission, right? So you put more effort in, we're going to put more effort into like reviewing and looking at these things and seeing what you do. The problem is a lot of people come in, they throw a prompt in, they throw something up here, and it just becomes noise, right? And so what we're looking for is people who understand how to stand above the noise. That doesn't mean you have to be spending a bunch of money in Replit credits. That doesn't mean you have to have the best application. It just means you have to get engaged, get involved, and follow the process here. And I promise at the end of this, you will all come out winners if you put effort in. Even if you don't win the prizes. I don't want to say you're all going to win prizes. Use of Replit. This is where it gets really big. And we might bump this up to 25% of total criteria. I don't know. But basically what we want to see here is like, did you just build a web app? Did you just submit an animation? Again, low effort. Or did you go in and build a web app and you don't have to build a mobile app, but you can submit an expo link. But did you also build the pitch deck? Did you build some go-to-market strategies? Did you build an idea for how you're going to take this out into the market? Did you build some cool marketing assets, some videos? Did you get multimodal outside of Replit to make your Replit work seem better or perform better or hit better with the world, right? Like all those things are good for you to be thinking about as part of this competition. Again, we're looking for folks to stand up and above. We don't just want to look for things that are vibe coded or one prompt solutions or things that anyone could just spit out. We're looking for who's taking that next step, who's really building meaningful, beautiful things. And I want to show one more thing that's on this homepage that I don't think we talked about on the prizes section. Just to reiterate, each week we will be giving away $3,500 cash prizes. Along with 5 runners up, we'll get $1,000 in Replit credits each. Each week we will also pick a crowd favorite, a judge's favorite, somebody who's most improved, somebody who we think is an underdog, and then somebody who is the at-large winner that's not the 3,500. So this is like the grand winner, and then there will be the at-large, judge's favorite, underdog, crowd favorite, and most improved. Every week we will give these prizes. So again, most improved is a great opportunity for someone who started with a little something that felt rudimentary but put a lot of effort in between week 2 and 3 or between week 1 and 2 and really kind of stepped up their game. An underdog is somebody who we think is putting a lot of effort in, but maybe doesn't have it all figured out. They haven't really articulated everything perfectly, but we see a little diamond in the gem, and we think there's something to pull through. And so that's what the underdog category will be. At large will just be kind of grand selection. The judges will have some discretion to kind of pick their favorite out of some of the collective aggregate scores. Then, as a grand prize, $10,000 cash to the main winner. To qualify for the $10,000 cash, you must have submitted all of your weekly checkpoints. To qualify for the weekly checkpoint, weekly prize, you must have submitted that week's checkpoint. However, you can submit a checkpoint late and still qualify for the grand prize. Just make sure you get all your checkpoints in by the end of the competition, by the last checkpoint. And then again, here's some other categories that we'll be doing. In addition to the grand prize, 10 category winners will win $2,000 of Replit credits each. Again, crowd favorites. There'll be 2 at-large winners, the judge's favorite, most improved. So again, we'll be tracking that all the way through. The most viral. So if somebody finds a way to go super viral, best use of Agent 4. I imagine this will be somebody who submits a web and mobile and animation and has connectors built in and has kind of just pushed things to the limit here. The best mobile app, so we'll have a category for anybody who's pushing the boundaries inside of mobile. The most creative submission and the most sellable. So what we think is the most marketable submission, what we think is the best go-to-market, and then most creative, what's the most intriguing thing that y'all have built that we can kind of look at here. So And I think that's it. We're going to keep adding to this FAQ. So expect this FAQ to actually turn into a full sidebar item on the left here with all the questions you all asked during the stream. So over the next 24 hours, I'm going to work really hard to go into these questions, pull out all the FAQs and add them to the site so that if there's any other problems or issues or concerns, you can easily find those here on the website. We will also clip out chunks of this broadcast that have the elements together and try to sprinkle them on the site so people who come later can also get like a full context of everything that's happening with the Buildathon. Okay, back to the questions. Let's see. Do we have to add the social links on the Buildathon profile? You don't have to add the social links. You do need to have at least one link. So that's a website or whatever. However, you will need to share social profiles like for your post. You need to share posts during this. So if you're not active on social, one of the biggest problems we had last time was also people creating brand new social accounts to share a post. That's not going to fly. So if you're not active on social, if you don't have a place to share, I would think about how you handle that. But yeah, your social and distribution somewhere is going to have to play into this. It could be Discord, it could be TikTok, it could be X, it could be Instagram. Really anywhere that's a public facing, you're trying to sell this story. Even if you want to self-host a video on your website, we need to have some way to access and view that and see that you're actually putting effort in, what you're doing inside of Replit, and how you're trying to get that to market. That's the whole goal of the videos, is basically this is your chance to impress us. We are going to have thousands of submissions that come in from this. We're going to do our best to look at some of these. One of the things that we're doing different this time that we didn't do last time is this gallery itself, where you all will be able to kind of pick and vote and organize and understand what other people are doing. And you'll be able to kind of vote on favorites. And so we will use the crowd a little bit this time to help elevate the best submissions for us to review. That's not to say we're not going to review them all, but we will be looking at crowd signals on this one more than we did on the mobile Buildathon for anybody that's asking. Okay, let's see. This is a really basic question. Can I start creating my personal space because there's nothing on your Buildathon page that activates an agent? Okay, the agent is not on the Buildathon page. You are looking for Replit to create a Replit project. All the Buildathon page is the front page for us to share what folks are building here. So if you're looking to like build in Replit, you need to go to replit.com. Not the community hub, sorry. Just replit.com. Oh, there we go. All right. The one Replit is on the Google Workspace. Okay. Imagine Infinity. I know. Imagine Infinity credits. Holy crap. I know. Trust me. I have not slept in a month. What about 32 onboarding screens? Yes. The more onboarding screens, the better, obviously. Just kidding. No onboarding screens. Can we get a clear list of weekly deliverables somewhere on the website too? No, that's 100% not what we're doing. You must stay up with us, right? The deliverables will be rolled out 1 week at a time. So right now, all you have to worry about is checkpoint 1. Don't worry about checkpoint 2. Don't worry about checkpoint 3. And do not get far ahead of us, right? I'm telling you, please follow along with the process. Don't try to go hero crazy, build whatever. Just all you got to do is focus on what's in front of you. Everybody's worried about what's tomorrow, what's next week. Right now, your task is find this idea, organize it, and find a way how you're going to pitch us that idea, right? How are you going to pitch us and the community and the world at large your idea? That's what I would tell you to focus on right now. Let's see. Tirado, your last name sounds Spanish. Sí, soy de Puerto Rico. No soy de España, pero hablo español, sí. Agent 4 is touted as something new, but the Replit interface does not look like something new. I don't know what that means. Replit is a very deep technical product with a lot of complexity. It's very easy for some of these other tools to feel simple and clean and modern. We're super modern, but none of the tools have the power or complexity of Replit. And so if you're going to do the things that Replit's going to do, you kind of need a complex interface with lots of stuff. So it's getting better. I know it's not perfect. Trust me, there's lots of places I would love to, put my hand on the design. However, there's a lot of stuff that has to go in there. And if you want simple and toys, go play with some of the other tools. When you're ready to play with like the real stuff to build production ready software, you're going to understand that all those things have a purpose. You want it to be interactive. No, it doesn't have to be interactive. The site doesn't have to be interactive. Let's see. How many projects can we submit at most? One. You can submit a single project for your app for the Buildathon. Let's see. Yeah. Trying to get through all the mobile Buildathon submissions was a chore. Okay, let's see. Is cash offers available to Europe because of Replit 20K challenge started in the rules that only USA gets cash prizes, not we'll have to clarify that. I think I don't know. I will have to clarify that. I think I don't remember what we agreed on. But let me check. Let me check and confirm on that. Me and Simon are going at it on this drive game. How cool would it be if the drive game became interactive and we could all be in there driving? So stay tuned. What's the hashtag? There's no hashtag. You're going to make the post and you're going to share the post with us as your checkpoint. There's no hashtag. Never mention a hashtag on the post, on the video. I think the amount you spend on the Buildathon should also be included because the point of Agent 4 is to build smartly. Build someone with 1,000 compared to a $100 build could be difficult. Yeah, we could maybe look into that. Again, you should know we're going to do everything we can to try to make this a level playing field. That's why everyone's got to start with the new project. That's why we're asking to kind of follow the same sequence here. And we're really going to kind of bias towards the folks that follow the rule of the law here, right? We're not interested in you trying to slide your mobile app that you built last year into this competition. We're not interested in somebody who imports a massive code base from GitHub and starts the project today so it looks like it's brand new in Replit. We will know that. There's a lot of checkpoints. The reason y'all are seeing this, right? The reason you see this and this was not built because I wanted to show off my usage. This was built because during the mobile Buildathon, people tried to sneak stuff in on us, and we had no way of understanding how much or who or where they spent or what they were actually using Replit for. So now we're trying to avoid that. Let's see. Boricua. Vamos, Boricua, sí, huepa, de Puerto Rico, vamos. Estamos hablando de hacer unos de streams de estos en español, a ver si podemos hacer en Latinoamérica. Manny habla español, Francisco habla español y también Marcelo en Brasil, él habla español también, así que vamos a ver lo que hacemos. Sorry for anybody there, we're just having a Spanish moment where we're talking about maybe doing some live streams in Spanish. So let's see. Okay. Rymar, what I meant was that the Replit interface doesn't look different from before. It does look different. You have parallel tasks on the left, you have the library, you have the canvas. Like there's a ton of things that are different. You're never going to get a brand new UI with Replit. Like there's no way they're going to rebuild that whole front end from scratch for one of these agent launches. It's always just going to be a refinement of what you see. What I can show you is that if I go into like this Buildathon hub, and what I can show you here is on the left, if you have this board, you're in Agent 4. If you can come into and open the canvas, you are in Agent 4. If you, like, let me go maybe to one of these other projects here, you can see like this is old Replit, right? So here I don't have the sidebar with parallel tasks. If I come up here and try to type canvas, I do not have a canvas. And so this is old Agent 4. This is new. This is Agent 3. This is Agent 4. So there's even a color difference, from a blue to a gray, but I think you can personalize those. So I'm not sure that's like a good indicator, but then you'll also see this big Agent 4 badge up here at the top. Estamos aquí, seguro, sí, no, por supuesto. Tenemos que representar los boricuas y los hispanos aquí. Okay, for real world adoption, education, what matters more, early user traction or deeper integrations like messaging APIs? Yeah, whatever you can show us. There's no way we can validate this. We were thinking about doing like doing revenue for this as one of the metrics. And the reason we didn't is because revenue becomes very hard for us to confirm, right? It's almost impossible for us to confirm that somebody got XYZ revenue without them like giving us information they're probably not willing to share. And so we decided against revenue for the competition. But yeah, hopefully some of those other things. Let's see what else is coming in. Yeah, if you have messaging APIs or whatever, it's kind of just up to you to share and show us how you're getting adoption, right, in a believable way. So that could be posts going viral. That could be you show us your user tables on the back end. You could tell us, you could show us your chat threads or something. Like, it's totally up to you how you all decide to pitch your product. This is in your hands, right? Like, this is a very open competition. We outline the criteria. The criteria is the project must start today. You must use Replit as the majority of your work, and you must showcase the benefits of Agent 4 to its limits. And so inside of that is a lot of room for you all to tinker. And then obviously we have those categories that we're going to be looking for submissions inside of. Let's see. Yeah, there are some of us that have a day job that's not Replit, I know I have a real hard time going back and forth between what's work and what's me just tinkering a lot of times. I want to create a $1,000 idea. Where's the problem? There's problems everywhere. This is an interesting thing. Like, you could go to Upwork and find out what people are trying to hire folks for. There's like all sorts of software development places where you can go. People are looking to solve like an internal problem. That'd be a great way to go. The thing I'm working on, the brag sheet, is something I'm solving for a problem I have personally. And so that's that's a thing you can do. And yeah, I think it's totally up to you. Where will we be able to find the checkpoint forms? The checkpoint forms, everything that happens in the Buildathon will live in the Buildathon. So you'll come to your profile. And when that profile loads, let me see if over here, where's the Buildathon hub? So in this profile here, when you click into your project, here you'll have your progress. So on your profile page, on your participant profile, right, on your project page, here's all your progress. You can edit your project details. You can edit your submission. You can view and edit the submission. You'll see here that, I need to complete my project details before I can submit. So all these forms need to be filled out before that can be submitted. But everything's right here. There's only two views that need to work, that matter for you: profile and the gallery. The gallery is where you'll see all the other profiles, right? These are all the other projects that people have submitted, and those will they're all drafts, right? So you can see people are not, like, they're just drafts right now. So those will fill out as we go. And yeah, over time, this will be the place to come explore all these projects. But again, two places you need to focus: your profile page. The gallery is where you'll see all the projects. And then on your profile page, you can see your current project, where it'll give you all of your progress, everything you need to know about what's coming up next. So week 1, we're exploring. It's due March 26th at noon. And here's the form, right? So you'll fill that out. You'll click submit, and then your project will officially be submitted. You can also edit that form. So like, let's say I come in here and let's say I just, let's do this. Come on, I'm terrible at typing when people are watching. Oh my God. All right, this is the problem. Okay, and so this would be a very low effort answer, but now you'll see that, oh, it's still not gonna let me submit. I can save it as a draft. It's still not gonna let me submit because my project is not fully complete. Add your demo URL, Replit project URL, and at least one tag to submit your checkpoints. So again, all these fields need to be submit before your submission will be fully accepted on the back end. Hopefully that clarifies your questions. Okay, there it is, okay. Geez, and of course I'm not sharing my screen. What the going on here? Oh boy, this is where it's good to have a secondary producer, huh? All right, here it is. Here's your project page. Oh my goodness, here's your project page. So you'll go in, you go to your profile, you'll click on your project page, and then it shows you your status here. You can submit your checkpoint here. It will not let you submit the checkpoint unless your project details are complete. So it's always going to ask you to complete these project details before you can actually submit your checkpoint. And then every week you're going to log in, check this profile page, and there will be a new checkpoint to unlock here. and they're all just going to be a simple form with a couple things for you to fill out. None of these are going to be like crazy, complicated things that you have to fill out. Okay. Any other questions, thoughts, ideas, things to think about? Can you build it on the Replit browser? Yeah, you can build it on the Replit app. Yep. Sorry, guys. I'm sorry about the screen share. Oh, my goodness. When is this due? I don't know. If we looked at the Buildathon dashboard, you might see all the dates associated with all the checkpoints. I'm not going to explain this again. Just go to the Buildathon hub and explore. Okay, I think that's it. I think that's all we need to cover. I think we're running in loops here at this point. If you have other questions, go ahead and leave them as comments in the thread. If you're watching this video later, we're going to, again, bring all these comments in. We'll organize them, and we will put together a really robust FAQ to hopefully answer all these questions. Right now, there's a basic FAQ at the bottom of the site, but we're going to move this over into the left-hand sidebar. So as things come up, you'll be able to kind of see what other people are asking and hopefully clarify anything you need to know. If you are not in the Discord yet, right? If you're not in the Discord yet, come down here, click Access Discord. That will take you to the Community Hub page where you can log in with Replit, verify your account, and if you are registered on the Buildathon, you should have access. So as a Buildathon participant, whether you meet the criteria for Pro or not, you should be able to get access to Discord. If you need to generate a new invite, you can click that button and it will generate a new invite for you. This is a programmatic invite link. Oh, okay. We'll try that again. Disconnect. You can also disconnect. This is the best way to do it, to be honest. If you have any problems with Discord, you come in here, you disconnect, and then you reconnect to Discord, right? So if I authorize Discord again here, it's going to push everything I need right back into Discord. And if you have a claimed role, a linked role, if you're an ambassador, whatever it is, so I'm going to go ahead and authorize that. Okay, boom, I'm in. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here to the server. I'm going to click my linked roles, and I'm going to see which link roles I want. I'm going to grab my Replit staff. Okay, great. I'm going to finish that, and that's all I'll grab here. Right? But if you qualified for other ones, if you're an ambassador, you could grab the ambassador badge. If you're a pro plan, you could grab the pro badge. Or if you're a day one, which is the folks who came over for the mobile build-a-thon, you can grab that badge as well. And so that's the Discord onboarding process. Hopefully that that helps and clarifies that. Okay, when does the bar open? Not soon enough. Okay, what is a Buildathon? Okay, all right. What do we add? Demo URL. Wow. Okay, you're gonna have to go back and watch a stream. I'm not sure how to help you guys if you don't understand that. Okay, yeah, it's literally the published project. It's the published project that you want to demo. Like, I don't understand what else we could put there. That it's the thing you're trying to share with us. Okay, that's gonna be it. I'm gonna leave before the repeat questions crawl right up underneath my skin. I appreciate everyone for hanging with us. This has been a blast. Tomorrow, Discord, 9 a.m. Eastern time. No, I lied. 12 p.m. Eastern time, 9 a.m. Pacific. We'll see you there. Bring your ideas, bring your questions. Again, we're going to have Tanner with us, who is one of the top builders inside of Replit as well. And we will just be looking at your ideas, talking about how to optimize agent usage, thinking about how you can kind of reduce scope or better articulate what you're trying to build to the agent so that you get the best output, and otherwise just hanging out and having a good time, answering questions and nerding out on Replit. If you have prompt ideas you want to explore, feel free to bring them. We'll burn Replit credits so you can share your prompts with us. We'll fire it off in an agent on the back end, and maybe we'll even make the project remixable for you to take home with you. So the Discord sessions were a lot of fun for the mobile build-a-thon, and I imagine they'll be just as fun for this one. So anyway, we'll leave it at that. Thanks everyone for hanging with us for so long. I know we're close to 3 hours here on the stream. So thanks everyone for hanging with us, and we will see you all next time. Bye.